Of course, but there are ways. Are you a hacker?
territory, Jordan says.
Bobby Written.
Right, so Israeli soldiers have long strutted through Europe with
This is Jamal.
Hello, 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 hello. How are we? Good evening, everybody. Sorry, I got carried away with writing something earlier today, and yeah, completely forgot what time it was, and so I've started the stream late again. I do apologise. It's not even because of how slow my day was going or anything like that, or how late I woke up today. Today was just ridiculous. So I do apologise for being a bit late. I'm still doing bits. I've got a cup of tea on the go in there that I'm making. How is everyone? Twitch.tv/djmuel. I'm just making the go live join stream story on my Instagram. All right, there we go. And I've also got to do one for Twitch as well. Let me say hello to everyone in the chat. Steph, how are you doing? Ninny, good to see you. Naptaker, what's going on? Sophie, how are you doing? Vord, Reaverclaw, B-Rat, Link, how are you all doing? What's going on? Welcome to the stream. Right, don't mind me while I just do the go live post on the Twitch app. What's up, everybody? I am live, and we are going to be covering the UK state is about to recognize Palestine, whether that's actually enough, and why they're doing it if we know it's not enough. I'm also going to be covering the crew of the Handala being abducted. This happened on Sunday, and the treatment of Chris Smalls in detainment. And we're also going to be looking at various different updates about Gaza in general. Join me in the chat. You know where to go. I'll see you there. All right. Thanks for your patience. How are we all doing? How was your day today? What have you been up to? Han, how you doing? My dear? What's going on? It's quite funny because I got two people in the chat that I'm asking how are they doing? And I know how they're doing. I know how Sophie's doing, and I know how Han's doing because I've been speaking to them both today. So there you go. You don't even have to answer. You didn't even know Chris Smalls was on the flotilla? Yep. Yeah. We kind of covered that a brief bit last week. What does it mean when they say they recognize Palestine? Palestine has not been recognized as a state since Zionism and Israel, the project of colonization in Palestine happened. So we're talking... It's just something that's not really been the case. Like, no UK government has ever recognized the state of Palestine in terms of, even with regards to a two-state solution. And we're going to be looking into it. Naptaker, so don't worry. We are actually going to be analyzing that, looking at various news sources, coming to a conclusion. I'm going to be giving you my take, which is what you all tune in for, isn't it? That's why you're all here. But just before we get started, what I'd like to bring your attention to is this great clip that B-Rat did last night. It was good. This is just great. Do you remember this from yesterday? Who remembers this? What's the seasoning? We don't do any of that round here, pal. Remember that? Good, that, innit? Good little clip. Good little clipper there. What's the seasoning? We don't do any of that round here, pal. Oh, yeah. That's right. The P-Wet times. Yeah, it wasn't that long ago, was it? It was literally just last night. Good, ain't it? It's good when we do things and have a little laugh. Work shit as always, but had takeout dinner, chips and cheese. Fucking prime. Seen that my tallest yellow sunflower is open. That's really, really nice. Lovely. I love that. Good news, I have noodles. Fuck yeah, let's go. That's proper good. I'm having a much better day than the past week. Fuck yeah, that's what I like to hear. That is exactly what I like to hear. Chat, I'm just going to go and get my cup of tea. I'm not going to be too long. Just give me a minute. Literally a minute. Right, I'm here. I got my granola and oat milk like the most crusty vegan anarchist ever. Yeah, but that's just dead nice, innit? It's just actually really fucking nice to have granola and oat milk. I've got a fucking cold sore, face fucking herpes, because I didn't drink enough fucking water yesterday. It's good, that, innit? It's really good. So, today, chat, it's got to be done. It's got to be done. Hey, Mr. Dank, how are you doing? Good to see you. Put a pic on Discord. Let's have a little look. PBP. How are you doing? Love my granola and oat milk. Eating a bunch of watermelon today. Oh, that's good. I had a mango after stream with lime juice, so that was really good. I'm eating well. You know, I'm eating okay. I've got 197,000 channel points to spend on hydrates. There you go. There you go. Also, I don't know if anyone's noticed. But he's back. So, you know, you can certainly redeem a blue fella, and that'll be good for me as well, won't it? That'll be good for everybody. Watermelon and mint makes a surprisingly good drink. It's good when things go together, isn't it? They go together and do stuff. I'm like, why am I gonna have this? It won't like properly chill out on the back of the... I'm just gonna put it in this little bucket where all my fucking things are. Okay, I'll just hang it there for the time being. Hang it off my mic stand. Nah, that's bad. I'm just gonna put it on the floor. Okay, there we go. Steph's sunflowers. This is nice. Yeah, look at that. So, these red ones... Wait, hang on a minute. Yellow and red sunflowers. So that's a red sunflower on the left. Very pretty. Yeah, I love that. Actually, really nice. Watermelon and mint iced tea is amazing. Isn't that Arizona stuff? You can get that Arizona stuff and they do a version of that, don't they? That's proper peng. Even the sunflowers are communists now. Yeah, you know it. You know it. Yeah, how was the gig last night, Mr. Dank? Mr. Dank went to a drum and bass rave last night. Really good stuff. Very exciting. And some more good news. 250 subs on the new channel. Hell yeah. This is great. This is good stuff. Thanks for all your help, chat. Couldn't have done it without you. 5,000 views. 500 hours of watch time. This is how we do it. This is how we actually do it. It got pretty loud and rambunctious. I love it when people get loud and rambunctious. As long as it's not, you know, it doesn't escalate into boisterous behavior. It simply can't. It simply can't go that way. What else have I got to tell you? I met a friend for a coffee today. On his way to the Lake District with his partner, my other friend, for her birthday. Pretty nice. It was the same friend I saw on Sunday night. So that was pretty good. What else can I tell you? It's the end of the month. Look at this. Look at this. That's great, isn't it? Look at all that. I've made so much dough doing my streaming. And it's all down to you, chat. It's all great stuff. So, you know, at this point, it's like, do I even really need to be going to the job center anymore? Can I just chill and just do this? What do we reckon? Is it time? Time to go full time once again and not concern myself with the, you know, with the state. What else have I got to tell you? Honestly, do you know what I have been watching and enjoying? I reckon Johnny Law has other plans. Hey, PM Triox, how you doing? Do you know what I have been watching and I have been enjoying? The Real Ghostbusters. And when I say the Real Ghostbusters, it's just the Ghostbusters. But they had to call it the Real Ghostbusters. Chat, do you know why this is? So, and it's really difficult to find nowadays. Not the Ghostbusters with the gorilla that used to be a live action show. Right, that's exactly it. Yeah, Filmation show with the same name, that's right. Same company that made He-Man. Oh, is that right? They did that. Yeah, that's wild. It's just absolutely bizarre. It's so bizarre. When you watch it, you're like, wait, what? What is this? And there was also like a cartoon version, if I remember correctly. It's just called The Ghostbusters. Or am I getting that wrong? Filmation's Ghostbusters. Here we go. Chat, it's so weird. Hey trans women, how you doing? Welcome in. Chat, I've got every trans woman in chat again. How good is that? Yeah, it was the 70s, so yeah, no, it's so odd. It's a very, very odd show. The VOD is probably going to get cancelled for this. See you in a second, VOD watchers. Welcome back, VOD watchers. I've been watching Real Ghostbusters, and that's been very good and fun for everybody. The Sofa Tap Man, yeah. Yeah, very much so. Where are we up to? It's been about 44 minutes. Let's get started. There's more than one movie. Right, okay. I just said let's get started, but I'm gonna have to check this out. Ashen's movie? Is it? Is it this? Ashen's Quest for the Game Child? Warwick Davis is in it. And Robert Llewellyn. Are you joking? That's mental. It's an Indiana Jones like looking for a piece of tat. He has a rival who beats him to it. The second one is him trying to heist the Polybius machine. Okay, color me interested. I had no idea that he looked like that. Never seen his head. Do you know what I mean? I'm thinking of Tucker and Dale versus Evil now. The Ashen's and the Polybius heist. Well, I'll give it a go, I guess. Yeah, Crichton from Red Dwarf. Yeah, Robert Llewellyn. Who's in this one? Tom Bonington? Ellie Silverman? Never heard of him. Who are they? Don't need a chin if you're a vector drawing. Alright, there you go. Alright, yeah, okay. I've been stalling for long enough. We're gonna get on with the news. There's some crazy shit going on. UK politics, UK news to do with Palestine. We are gonna check it out. So, first up, UK government, Keir Starmer, is saying that he is going to recognize a Palestinian state unless Benjamin Netanyahu makes peace in Gaza. Now, there are multiple problems with this. The first one being what we've already discussed here on the stream yesterday, very briefly, and last week and the week before when we were talking about Emmanuel Macron and what he has been suggesting for the UK and France and a bunch of other European countries to recognize a state of Palestine. It's not enough. It's simply not enough to stop the genocide going on in Gaza. It's just not. And in order to do that, there has to be solid actions taken by governments all over the world to stop arming Israel. That's the key, right? That's what every activist group has been trying to urge governments to do. Sanctions, stop all the arms trades. That is something that would have a material effect. Now, don't get me wrong. This is something that is upsetting Israel, for sure. It's annoying Israel, and it's questionable as to what the relationship is going to be with Israel if this happens, or if this leverage is ignored, or whatever goes forward in the future. But we're already seeing a backlash to it from the Zionist entity. This is in the Telegraph. Israel accuses Starmer of rewarding Hamas. This hasn't happened, by the way. It's not even happened yet. So let's have a little read through this. The Telegraph, if you don't know, here in the UK, the Telegraph is essentially, what would it be? It's kind of like the New York Times, I would say. It's kind of on that level of the New York Times, like super conservative, obviously in favor of Israel and Zionism, and has a lot to say about things like conservative, socially liberal stuff, but also it's gone more and more anti-woke in quotation marks there. Most of the audience knows what's up with the Tory graph. Exactly, Han, the Tory graph. Yeah, what would Hitler do? Ask papers, yeah. So let's have a little read and see what they're saying, just so everyone's aware of the bias of this particular media source. Israel has accused Sheikh Starmer of rewarding Hamas after he declared the UK will recognize Palestine in September. Too late, by the way. It's worse than New York Times. Yeah, I think you're right, Han. Yeah. It was a bad comparison. Yeah, it's definitely worse than the New York Times. New York Times is more like the Times, yeah. Even if this were to be done, even if this not good enough, paltry, meaningless posturing, even if it were to be done and not have any effect whatsoever, in September is an absolutely absurd time frame. Like, what are you saying? If what our government is proposing is that there is a genocide going on in Gaza, people are starving, it's really bad, there are human rights crises going on right now, why is this not something that is gonna happen tomorrow? I don't understand. What's the fucking point? Oh, in September, so another month and more people die. Is that what you're saying? Because that's what's happening. So declare the UK government will recognize Palestine in September unless Benjamin Netanyahu's government makes peace. The Prime Minister issued the ultimatum to his Israeli counterpart after an emergency meeting of his cabinet. Wondering exactly what this is about. I wonder if this is, again, a pressure release valve that is designed to make the movement, the pro-Palestine movement, complacent and stop doing actions. Of course, as we know, even after the prescription of Palestine action, there are still direct actions that have happened that have disrupted the arms trade to Israel. In the UK, there was an action in Scotland at a Leonardo weapons factory. They were charged under the Terrorist Act regardless of not being part of Palestine action. So maybe they are trying everything they can to stop activists from doing stuff. Reminiscent of the Biden admin's deadline that went after the inauguration day or election day, forgot which one. Yep, right, exactly. A meaningless deadline. It doesn't mean anything. The announcement followed months of pressure from Sir Keir's own cabinet colleagues and MPs to move to a policy of immediate recognition. It is likely to see the government face pressure to go further, with critics to Sir Keir's left warning that statehood should not be used as a bargaining chip. I mean, this is true. It's crazy. In an ideal scenario, weapons would be halted from going to Israel right now. That is what everybody wants. Sanctions, trade sanctions, have a pause in trade, and also cease all weapons. Cease all weapons. go into Israel. It's just that's literally what people are asking for. And again, recognizing a Palestinian state does what exactly? You know? I think they're afraid that Spain or South Africa starts going after Kera Macaroni under universal jurisdiction. I agree, Carnos. I think that is exactly what it is. I think that what they're doing is going, shit, we are participating in war crimes, and how can we make a good case for ourselves at The Hague? Yeah? If it happens. And we're going to do our best to make sure it doesn't happen. Right? Israeli Foreign Minister said Israel rejects a statement by the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. The shift in the British government's position at this time, following the French move and internal political pressures, constitutes a reward for Hamas and Harm's efforts to achieve a ceasefire in Gaza and framework for release of the hostages. Yeah, whatever. However, Sir Keir's announcement was welcomed by the government of France after Emmanuel Macron. The French government confirmed last week his own country would also recognise Palestine. In addition to the nation, Sir Keir said, "I've always said that we will recognise a Palestinian state as a contribution to a proper peace process at the moment of maximum impact for the two-state solution. With that solution now under threat, this is the moment to act." Dog shit. Absolute dog shit. Keir worried he's not going to be able to go vacationing in Valencia unless he gets arrested on an ICJ warrant. Right. When did Jordan Peterson become the PM? Okay, yeah, maybe that did go into a little bit of Jorbly Peebs, but you know what I'm saying. Sir Keir said the Israeli government must agree to a ceasefire, allow the UN to start the resupply of aid, 500 trucks a day, make clear that there will be no annexations in the West Bank, commit to a long-term sustainable peace based on the two-state solution. Right. This is not going to happen. Everybody knows this. Everyone with a serious political analysis of the Zionist entity knows that this is not going to happen. Make clear there will be no annexations in the West Bank. Annexations have been happening in the West Bank. They have been happening. They voted in the Knesset last week to formalize the annexation of the West Bank. If the Israeli government, if the Zionist entity is simply saying all the time that the UN is Hamas and has stopped aid somehow, which is what they're currently saying, that the UN is Hamas and they have stopped aid, they are the reason the aid is not getting into the Gaza Strip, how is this going to happen? And again, agreeing to a ceasefire, there was a ceasefire in January this year, which the Zionist entity violated multiple times within a week of it being agreed. There is currently a ceasefire in Lebanon, which the Zionist entity frequently violates all the time. The West Bank is fragmented to hell as is. Where's the plan to remove illegal settlements? This is what I'm saying. How are we recognizing a state when the land has been annexed, it's been stolen, it's happened, right? It's happening. There has to be a pushback. There has to be a reversal of things that have happened. This is meaningless. It is completely meaningless. The Prime Minister added, "Meanwhile, our message to the terrorists of Hamas is unchanged and unequivocal. They must immediately release all hostages, sign up to a ceasefire, disarm and accept they will play no part in the government of Gaza." By the way, they have said that they will do this if the Zionist entity agrees to a complete ceasefire and end all hostilities and releases all the Palestinian prisoners. They've agreed to this. They will do this. And releasing all the hostages. It is the Zionist entity that is refusing to accept their terms. Speaking at a United Nations summit on the two-state solution in New York, David Lammy, the Foreign Secretary, said the government had the hand of history on our shoulders. So stop all arms trade. Stop all of it. There's no better vision for the future of the region than two states. Israelis living within secure borders, recognized and at peace with their neighbors, free from the threat of terrorism. This is only going to happen. This is only going to happen if Israel completely changes as a society. What are you talking about? At peace with their neighbors. How? How is that possibly ever going to be a reality for this fucking state. It is just a denial of reality. It's delusional. The decades-long conflict between Israelis and Palestinians cannot be managed or contained. It must now be resolved. Britain is ready to play its full and historic part. Right, so we're going to do meaningless things that aren't going to make a difference. Sakir faced criticism from both left-wing figures who said his announcement did not go far enough, and political opponents to his right warned it would reward Hamas. Jeremy Corbyn, Sakir's predecessor and the co-founder of a new hard left party, hard left, said Palestinian statehood is not a bargaining chip. It is not a threat. It is an inalienable right of the Palestinian people. Correct. Our demands on this shameful government remain the same. End all arms sales to Israel, impose widespread sanctions, and stop the genocide now. His sentiments were shared by Sir Ed Davey, the Liberal Democrat leader, who demanded far greater action to stop the worsening humanitarian situation. Reform UK warned that Sir Keir's decision had been made at the wrong time and plays into the hands of Hamas. This is the thing, like, there's no point in us sitting here and saying, what are they playing out? Why are they doing this? Why doesn't he just, if he's going to get tarred with the same brush as Jeremy Corbyn, why doesn't he just do the right thing? He's already got his money. He's already made his mark on the world. He's going to be able to retire to somewhere in the future and just chill out for the rest of his life. And that's it, right? There's no threat to his security in his future whatsoever. He truly believes this crap. Possibly. He possibly does. There is obviously an amount of delusion that happens when you get to those echelons of power. Settlers are inherently unable to live peacefully with their neighbours unless their neighbours are also settlers. Yeah, that's true. Even when the country was founded, they had no illusions about making peace with their neighbours. Correct. Britain is ready to play its full and historic part. Hot dog costume. We're all trying to find the guy that did this. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, we've got some key moments happening here. At around 5 o'clock, Starmer said it's now time to act on recognising Palestine. David Lammy said no better vision than a two-state solution. Reform, this does little more than reward Hamas. Kemi Badenoch said this is political posturing at its very worst. She's right, but not for the reasons that she's probably going to give. Apparently, Trump has said, I'm okay with Starmer's decision, but I don't have to agree. It's because he knows it's meaningless. That's why, if he said that, that's why he said that, because he knows it's meaningless. It doesn't mean anything. Starmer is going the same as Macron. Donald Trump said that Sir Keir Starmer is going the same as Macron after Prime Minister said he would recognize Palestine in September, writes Daniel Hardiker. Asked about Sir Keir's decision, the US president said, that's okay. That's okay, I didn't mean I have to agree. Mr. Macron announced last week that France would recognize the state of Palestine after reportedly lobbying Britain to do the same. The US president said he did not discuss the issue with Sir Keir during his Scotland visit. What's Kemi Badenoch saying? The Tory leader has been staunchly supportive of Israel's right to defend itself in the wake of that. Tories were too laissez-faire about the subsequent pro-Palestinian marches in London. Ms. Badenoch said, when the country is looking for answers on asylum hotels, the cost of living is getting worse and doctors are threatening to go on strike again, further endangering lives. It's disgraceful that Keir Starmer recalled his cabinet to try and sort out a political problem for the Labour Party. Yeah, they're just trying to be the opposition. And she's being a crap opposition as well. Recognising a Palestinian state won't bring the hostages home, it won't end the war, and it won't get aid into Gaza. It's political posturing at its very worst. I mean, she's correct, but not for the reasons that she's, referring to. The Scottish First Minister called for Keir Starmer to go further and irreversibly recognise Palestine. John Swinney said, having called on the UK government to recognise the state of Palestine, I welcome the intent behind this announcement. However, recognition of Palestinian state should be inevitable. Recognition must not be conditional and needs to be backed by sanctions against Israel if the violence continues. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough from the Conservative SNP. Ireland welcomes Starmer's ultimatum to Israel. I mean, Ireland is also not doing enough as well, right? There's a lot of criticism from the towards the Irish government from the Irish people, the pro-Palestinian movement in Ireland, right? Well, that's what the Tory graph is saying. Let's take a look at Qatar-owned state media Al Jazeera. UK plans to recognise Palestine in September unless Israel halts Gaza war. Prime Minister says Israel must take major steps in the coming weeks. The UK will make its move ahead of the UN General Assembly in September. Anything new here? Substantive steps to end its war on Gaza, commits to a lasting peace process. According to a government statement issued after emergency cabinet meeting on Tuesday, Starmer said the move could come before the United General... Yeah. I mean, look. If he really wanted to be realistic about all of this, he could force Israel to do this by ending all arms sales. It's ridiculous that this is just being bypassed. He is doing a smokescreen. This is all I can do. This is all I can do. No equivalence between Israel and Hamas. Our demands on Hamas remain. They must release all hostages, sign up to a ceasefire, play no role in the government and Gaza disarm. I mean, they're not going to disarm. Like, this is also a thing that is now being demanded of... And again, they're referring to Hamas, the military wing of Hamas, which is made up of various different... it's just so shit that they are, like, doing this complete missing out of the actual facts here. Yeah, you're talking about the municipal government of Gaza, which is Hamas. And on top of that, who you're referring to in disarming is Al-Qassam and Sarai al-Quds, various other different organizations as well. Hey Monkey Sputum, how you doing? Welcome in. Yeah, he's still doing nothing about Israel doing piracy on British flag vessels twice. Yeah. Fuck Keith Starmer, yeah. While past UK governments have supported Palestinian statehood when the time is right, none have publicly tied it to a specific deadline or laid out preconditions explicitly. Israel lashed out at the UK following the announcement calling a reward for Hamas. Yeah, we've already heard all this. Apparently there's been a statement. Let's see what he actually says in the statement from the horse's mouth.
The United Kingdom will recognise the state of Palestine in September unless the Israeli government takes substantive steps to end the appalling situation in Gaza. That's the message from the British Prime Minister, Keir Starmer. He made the announcement after an emergency cabinet meeting in Downing Street.
I've always said that we will recognise a Palestinian state as a contribution to a proper peace process at the moment of maximum impact for the two-state solution.
That would have been...
With that solution...
That would have been probably a year ago, dude. And also, yeah, he's not always said this.
Solution now under threat. This is the moment to act. So today...
No, the moment had passed years ago, dude. Years ago.
As part of this process towards peace, I can confirm the UK will recognise the state of Palestine by the United Nations General Assembly in September, unless the Israeli government takes substantive steps to end the appalling situation in Gaza.
For more on this, let's speak...
So again, let's think about this. Let's break it down. Let's see where we're up to, right? Pitched up Matt Berry impression. Let's see where we're up to with this. Let's think about it. Let's break it down. This meaningless act, which will achieve nothing, is something we're trying to use as leverage to get the Zionist entity to stop killing civilians and starving Palestinians. Everybody in the chat pretty much agrees that this is probably just something that he's doing to make his case in The Hague, if he ever gets prosecuted at The Hague, a bit better, right? If everybody recognized a Palestinian state tomorrow, that would do nothing. It would achieve nothing. It's a meaningless act. It's not even an action. It's a word. It's a concept, right? We're doing this concept, okay? So with that in mind, where should we be with this? How should we feel about this? If it is being used as a salve or a self-preservation tactic by the governments that are complicit, such as France, such as the UK, Germany will never do it because they're fucking absolutely insane Nazis still, and they don't care. They're like, this is good. It's good that this is happening. We love beating the shit out of pro-Palestinian protesters, especially women, especially brown women. We love doing that. Spain is making more efforts to do stuff. We've also got the Hague group who are actually making more concrete aims. Like Colombia has recently said that they're going to stop actual shit going to Israel, like, for example, coal. Yeah, so if Israel stops for a day, he could declare victory and not recognize Palestine, and then Israel keeps bombing Gaza, and Keir goes back to brunch. Right, exactly. That's probably the plan. Yeah. So how should we feel about this? Like, you know, it's going to be a two-pronged thing. He's going to be sat there in this room, emergency cabinet meeting, and it's probably going to be things like, hey, man, so what happened yesterday with Donald Trump? Donald Trump came to the UK and was like, listen, man, you're on your fucking own. You're a vassal state. You know, do exactly what we say. You've got our nukes on your soil now. I mean, you've always had our military bases, but you're doing what we tell you. Otherwise, you're on your own. British forces are still flying drones over Gaza to aid the genocide as well. Yep, they are. Lesbian hot sauce. Also, welcome to the stream. How you doing? Yep, that's correct as well. Like, you know, the government, the UK is still participating in it. It's still participating in it. They're looking at what has happened, their relationship to the US, the empire as a walled world as a whole, thinking about what can be done to preserve power, to hold on to power in this country. There's also the threat of the new left-wing party. 500,000 members. That was yesterday. It could even be more today. I don't know how many members they've got. They've got more members than Labour did at the beginning, at the height of their membership under Corbyn. Thanks for the follow. Yeah, our government is not just complicit, they're participants. Yeah. We are complicit in our countries. We are complicit for allowing our government to do this. That's something to remember. Right? And, you know, particularly if you haven't said anything, if you haven't done anything, if you've not even been on a march. And that isn't designed to shame anybody, right? That's just the facts. Once you're aware of it, if you turn away, you may as well be participating. Because that's what they want. They want you to continue your nice and comfortable life pretending that it isn't happening. And that's why they've created this world for people to be able to do that, right? By exploiting the global south. So there are all these threats coming at the UK government, possible ICJ, possible the collapse of the imperialist empire, the walled world as we know it. The contradictions are becoming very, very clear to a lot of people. Every chance that the US could descend into serious unrest very soon, very quickly, and the UK could follow as a result. Lots of economic uncertainty, possibility of depression, real sort of like existential crisis of the white West, right? Which is good in a way, but also terrifying. And yeah, this is it, right? It's all in relation to Trump's visit to the UK, the way that things are, the possibility of a socialist government that will hold people to account. Not even really a socialist government, just like a moderate left government that will respect international law, look at the new state of play in the world post-empire, and be like, damn, the UK is on its own. We should probably start allying with all these socialist states that are doing really good stuff like Cuba and Venezuela or Colombia. And, you know, I mean, I wouldn't say that Colombia is like, you know, mad socialist, but most countries in the imperial periphery are actually becoming more and more left-wing, right? Because it just fucking makes sense. And this is pressure from the people in those countries as well. Decades of sanctions and all this kind of thing. So what are they doing? they are trying to, the UK government is trying to say, right, we've got to protect ourselves from prosecution at The Hague. We've got to somehow not get assassinated by Mossad, right? Which is probably a real fear that some of them have. We've got to try and stop activists from having any actual impact on what's going on in the Zionist entity and what they're doing to Palestinians, because it is working. So let's say this, it'll work as a salve. It will give us ammunition to use at The Hague if we ever get prosecuted. And it means that if the US collapses, which it looks like it might, and we aren't protected by them anymore, colonialism turns inward, as it already is happening. There's already concentration camps in the US. There were already concentration camps in the US. They're increasing in size. They're increasing in veracity. They're increasing in boldness about that stuff. ICE, Gestapo disappearing people off the streets. This is only 7 months into Trump's dictatorship, right? And who knows when it's going to end. And we have to create some kind of a world, some kind of a situation in the future where we're a bit more protected, right? That's what it feels like to me, I was just in Kenya and interviewed the youth representative from the Communist Marxist Party there, and they're going to have a revolution. I firmly believe this, and I think it's our role to support from inside the imperial core. Yeah, absolutely. Look, I've said for a long time, and Africa is a continent to be looking at with regards to this, right? There are horrible things going on in Sudan and Congo. There are horrible things going on in pretty much every country in Africa, if you think about it broadly. And all of that is as a result of the way that the imperial core meddles in states in the imperial periphery. And you've got states like Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, all throwing off the shackles of imperialism. France has lost a lot of colonial power. There are no more French troops in Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traoré is doing Thomas Sankara-style socialist policies, whilst also fighting terrorism that has been inspired by countries in the imperial core or vassal states of the imperial core, like the United Arab Emirates, right? Funding all these terrorist death squads to just create fucking chaos in Africa so that they could extract resources, to be used for electric vehicles and all kinds of decadent nonsense, right? Traoré has a bunch of banger quotes, you've only got to look at him to be like, he is doing Thomas Sankara. He has read about Thomas Sankara and he is like, yes, this was the right person for our country and we need another one of them. And actually, it's not just about me, it's about Burkinabes in general, right? All eyes on Africa. That's where a lot of revolutions are going to happen. There are revolutions happening all the time, right? There are revolutionary activities happening all the time. The friends and comments I made there are very incredible, inspiring. Also got sick rap videos. Hell yeah. Western media is also trying so desperately to discredit Traoré. Yeah. Yeah. And this is also why it's the best time, because there's no, everyone is talking about Gaza. everyone is talking about Gaza. Everyone is like, no. Actually, we should be thinking about this thing that we're participating in. And so it's like, no one is interested in what Ibrahim Traoré is doing in the West, apart from people with a lot of money, but they're like, shit, we've got so many problems, actually. We need to keep this fucking colonial state going, right? And that's it. Yeah, no, that's what they'll be doing, lesbian hot sauce. It'll be more like probably some coup attempt in order to try and prevent that shit from happening, right? It's more likely that is what's going to happen. There's been multiple attempts. Is that true? It also helps that Epstein is so obviously connected as well. Right. Everybody is focusing on different things, Got a couple of links to share to support Pan-African libraries in the Sahel. Yeah, share them. Yeah, I think you should be able to, because you've been gifted a sub. So you should be able to just share them in the chat now, Han, if you want. But anyway, okay, so there's my analysis. The empire is in crisis. That is a good thing. And what is Palestine? You know, I said this when we looked at Emmanuel Macron's state visit to the UK a couple of weeks ago. Check this out. He said, Macron UK visit Palestine. Let's just see if we can get this video. Right, here we go. So there was a point in this video.
We also stood together in calling for the cessation of hostilities and path to peace in the Middle East.
So this is when he was first talking about the UK and France and other European countries need to recognize Palestine. And then there's a very interesting point that he makes here.
The speech of October, release of Gaza, offering end and is all correct. We are aware that a political way out is crucial. National security architecture, but a full-and-complete solution.
Hang on. I need to find this bit. Constay for ceasefire condition. Territory is working together in order to recognize political momentum, path to peace. Oslo.
Our duty and refusing as well stability for all in the whole region.
He's talking a lot about peace and stability. Common refusal to tolerate the threat posed by Iran, nuclear weapons, whatever, yada, yada, yada. France,
Kingdom and Germany, in coordination with all stakeholders, have the duty to bring about a stringent negotiation which ensures international monitoring of Iran's nuclear program over the long term.
Whatever, yeah.
Our two countries have conciliation, territorial sovereignty, of the freedom of amid has not faltered. Aha,
here we go, right? So this is what he refers to. This is what he's talking about.
Amid these upheavals, the alliance between France and the United Kingdom has not faltered. It has even become stronger.
It's become stronger, right? And he starts to focus on this.
Yes, during the past few years, this alliance became stronger. On defense and security, the Lancaster House treaties showed that we were willing to cooperate on the most sensitive subjects regarding our sovereignty and our deterrence. When our two countries
regarding our sovereignty and our deterrence,
find them, some clever people found a way to derive savings of resources from them, and others even dubbed them the Entente Régale. Yet, they have...
So that he refers to there, some have referred to this as the Entente Régale, right?
And others even dubbed them the Entente Régale.
So he's saying Entente Régale, which is regal agreement or something. What he is echoing here is in the past, right? Before the US was interested in things outside of the US, when it was doing isolationism in the early 20th century and all that kind of business, France and Britain had the Entente Cordiale at the beginning of the 20th century, right? So the Entente Cordiale, a series of agreements signed on the 8th of April 1904 between the United Kingdom and France, which saw a significant improvement in Anglo and French relations, right? Cordial agreement. So the Entente Régale will be the royal agreement, right? Or whatever régale would mean in French. So cordial, good understanding, and it essentially boils down to agreeing to coordinate their colonialism, agreeing to coordinate their imperialism. This is kind of what it is, right? The agreement was a change for both countries. France had been isolated from other European powers because of the destruction of the Napoleonic Wars, threat of liberalism, perceived recklessness in Franco-Prussian War, and all about that kind of business, right? They were like, right, you know what? We need to have some stability in Europe, and that means us not going mental and attacking people randomly like we have done in the past, right? So it's all kinds of benefits that they had with regards to this. You know, they were like, hang on a minute, we're struggling over Sudan. We're struggling over the Upper Nile River. Why don't we just do colonialism together, right? And that's kind of what it is. It was a consolidation of power, the sort of beginnings of the world as we see it now, right? And he's referring to that here to bring these ideas back into the political classes thinking space. They're like, listen, maybe the US is doing all this stuff, but maybe we can be clever and we can have these connections as well, right? Maybe the empire falls apart, but we're tight, France and Britain, in our colonialism, right? So there you go. That's what this is all echoing. That's what this is all in relation to. The UK is trying to think of where its position is in the world right now and how it can possibly hold on to any kind of power, even a shred of it. And that's why we're having these weird meetings with France, Macron, these meaningless platitudes of recognizing a Palestinian state. It's not going to do anything. And it's all kind of thinking, how can I protect myself in the next 4 years? They are probably thinking, and this is a real reality that we have to maybe face, folks, that
a dandelion must be the last one of the season.
Oh my god. Krill with the fucking 50 quid, 75 quid. How much was that? Krill with the £76 dono. Holy fucking shit. I cannot begin to explain how generous you have been and how appreciative I am. Krill, you joined the stream at the start of this month and you have supported me so much. Like, you've given me a real fucking leg up here. It's really, really, really appreciated. Not only does that mean that I'm far more financially secure this month than I have been in a long fucking time, it also means that we're going to have a trash fucking bingus stream next month. We're going to have some fun. There's going to be fun on the stream, chat. Can you imagine it? Can you fucking imagine it? Thank you so much for subbing off Twitch. Thank you so much for supporting the stream. Thank you so much for getting me to the goal. Holy fucking shit. Really, really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I was actually, at the end of this, going to talk about how, if you're enjoying the stream, if you think you've learned something, if you think I do good work, please consider donating. But here we are. We've hit the goal. Tell you what, let's have a stretch goal. Let's have a fucking stretch goal. There's no, there's not really going to be an incentive to this other than it means that I'm more financially comfortable, right? Of course, as you're probably aware, fun on this stream, it's more likely than you think. Also, hi. Stretched hole, yep, you heard it here first. Look, if you wanna give me more money, if you want me to be more financially comfortable, £500 is a great amount of money to get in donors, but obviously it's not enough for my actual living costs. But if you do want to support me with that, that would be incredibly appreciative. Please consider donating as well. I'm just gonna expand the dono goal. Just give me a hot minute. Tip goal. Now, Krill, you're not allowed to do any more donos. Do you understand? No more donos allowed, because where are we up to? It was 542p, right? Yes, sir. Right, good. Good. Right. Dono goal. Okay, now it's up to everybody else to get us to the new goal. Right, there you go. So there's a stretch goal, 600 quid. If you... Sounds like authoritarianism, Mr. Streamer. That's right. That is what it is. I'm literally Stalin. So yeah, please consider subbing off Twitch. Please consider supporting me. Please consider subbing, etc., etc., etc. Okay, right. That Katie, welcome to the stream. I need these freaks to recognize. Whoa!
BLELELELELELELELELELE.
Johnny already with the 25 quid. Thank you so much for subbing off Twitch. Thank you so much for supporting the stream. Hell yeah. Thank you so much. Again, Johnny, you've been super, super generous this month. Honestly. People who've already donated, stop. You don't need to give me any more dough. You don't need to give me any more dough. But everybody else, if you think I deserve it, shoot me a $5 in the dono link. You know, send a sub my way or bits or whatever. Or just promote the stream, you know, or just like, you know, go to the Go Live tweet, the Go Live post on Blue Sky, give it a retweet, give it a like, boost it up in the algorithms, however it works. Yeah. You're not that hot. That's true. I'm not as hot as Stalin. Thank you very much for confirming that, Val. Okay, where was I up to? New person in the chat, thank you very much for the donos. Honestly, I really appreciate it. That Katie, new chatter, I need these freaks to recognize Palestine less and stop funding the genocide more, but maybe that's just me. No, you're absolutely right. 100%. 100%. That's what we're talking about here. And hi, Morrigan, how are you doing? Welcome to the stream. Did I miss anyone else in the chat? Elron Hubward, how are you doing? Welcome in. Anyone else? Anyone else? Anyone else? Anyone else? Yeah, okay, good. That's the problem with the people who donate a lot. They don't stop. Yeah, it's a good problem to have, right? Nap! Nap, you did say that you would donate when you had money. Thank you so much for subbing off Twitch. Thank you so much for supporting the stream. Oh my god, Johnny! Johnny with the 1312.
But, opening parenthesis.
Johnny, thank you so much for the... Oh my god. Steph! You've also donated this month. Stop it. Steph with the 1312. Thank you for subbing off Twitch. Thank you for supporting the stream.
Big up the dolls.
Big up the dolls. It's true. Colon open in parentheses indeed reminds me I should call my doctor. That's true. Han, you don't have to worry about donating. No, you're right. It would be a strange dynamic. Don't worry about that at all. You don't have to do that. You're literally my partner. Just you existing is enough. Thank you so much, everyone, for the support. I really appreciate that. We've only got £50 to go to the stretch goal. That's crazy. £47. 9 people donating a $5. Krypton Juice with the tenner.
Sonic will never again be a pain in my egg.
Krypton Juice with the £10.
You are very much appreciated, Mule.
Thank you so much. You're making me feel that way. I appreciate the dono. Thank you for subbing off Twitch. Thank you for supporting the stream. Thank you so much. Chat, we gotta do a bit of a reward here for the hype, honestly. All the donos, all the support. You know. Let's listen to a fucking tune. How about that? How about that? What about a bit of What about a little bit of this? Sorry, YouTubers. You will be back momentarily, and you will miss this tune. How about a little bit of this? Let's bring the VOD watchers back in, because they need to know that we hit the goal. We hit the goal, VOD watchers. I know you're out there watching. I know I haven't uploaded VODs after each stream for some time now, but you will be seeing this at some point in the future, and you need to know that the chat got us to the goal. Thank you so much, Johnny. Thank you so much, everybody, for subbing off Twitch. Thank you for supporting the stream, and thank you for subbing on Twitch as well. Super appreciate all the support. You know, you've made my life a lot easier, and yeah, it's crazy. Like, I came back to streaming because I was having such a problem finding work. I thought I would get a job pretty quick again. Whatever has happened, and it's meant that it's just been very, very difficult for me to find work. I came back to streaming. I'm feeling truly properly organized with streaming now. I feel like I have a much better work ethic. I feel like I'm making a lot of different content as well. Just making content in general. I'm advertising the stream a bit more. More people know about me. More people are coming to see me. More people are, you know, stopping by and supporting. And yeah, you know, can't do it without you, obviously. And yeah, just absolutely wild that everyone has supported this much. You know, had some new people come in who have just straight away just been like, here is some financial support, my brother, and that means the world. And yeah, really, really good stuff. Really, 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 really good stuff. I can't thank you all enough. And yeah, here's to the stream. We're going to make a difference. We're going to, you know, we're going to build this community. We're going to get more and more viewers. We're going to get more and more subscribers, more and more supporters. And we're going to use it as an opportunity to tell people to get out there and organize, because I think that is a very it's not done enough. You know, there's a lot of people on this platform who are sat there and they're going, yo, check how bad the world is, yo. And everyone's in the chat being like, yeah, it is. And that's it, then we move on. But no, the way that we solve this, the way that we do something about this is we organize. We go out there, we get into the streets, we build organizations, we build dual power structures, we challenge the state in its failures by providing support to each other in the places that it fails people the most. And then we get a better world. We build a better world. The new world is already struggling to be born. And it is difficult. It's not going to be easy, but we will do it together. Okay, that's me saying a bunch of mushy stuff. Done. But here we go. I agree. How can they recognize the legitimacy of the occupier and the occupied simultaneously unless they deny any occupation has even taken place? Yep. If you recognize Palestine post-67 borders, it legitimizes Israel as a state and denies that all that land is actually Palestine. In my opinion, we should push for a one-state solution that is truly democratic without having ethnicity determine how much rights you have. Yeah, I agree, Violent Hippie. Yeah. Yeah, I don't have any notes. Organizing and not hope for something spontaneous happening on its own. Yep, no complacent hope in... It's like yesterday we were talking about Jeremy Corbyn and Zara Sultana's new party in the UK, yeah? It's great, it's amazing that there's 500,000 people who've already signed up to it and are ready to back them in an election and fight the, you know, overwhelming media machine that is going to completely destroy... Look at this fucking thing. We got this thing back, right? You know, the media machine that is going to be doing the work to delegitimize the party and all that kind of stuff. But we cannot just hope. You know, yesterday people were saying, what are all these people doing in the party who have connections to Keir Starmer? Why are we doing that? This is a bad idea. Yeah, guess what? We don't just sit there and hope that Jeremy Corbyn is going to save the world, because it's not how it works, right? Political power corrupts people. And it doesn't matter how good you are, with all the best will in the world, there are going to be so many different powers preventing people from doing stuff. You know, look at the way in which we were talking about Ibrahim Traore earlier. He's had coup attempts. He's had assassination attempts. He won't shake anyone's hand because he's afraid of assassination attempts. Of course he is, because that's what the empire tries to do to people who are seeking to build a better world. And it's kind of like that That's kind of how things happen, but with economic pressure in the imperial states themselves, trying to tarnish people's reputations, etc., etc. That's why they hounded Jeremy Corbyn over and over and over again during his last run for the prime minister position for Labour getting into power in the country. You know, there was like absolutely no way they could have allowed it to happen, and people infiltrated the party. 500,000 people is not 500,000 engaged, consulted in union. Right, exactly. Good job, we've hit a spineless authoritarian wanker in Downing Street. Yeah, it has to be where it goes next. 100%. 500,000 people doing what? 500,000 people saying what? Moving where? You know? So organising is the key. So thanks very much, everybody. Really appreciate all the support. We'll continue to do it. We'll continue to do the good work, and also advertise Red Planet, where me and my friends Sophie and Tim, we talk about actually doing that and actually organising. If you're not already following Red Planet, please do. We stream on Twitch here most Sundays. There was a stream last Sunday that was very, very good. I couldn't make it, but it was incredible. Yeah, please go and check out the YouTube channel as well. There's a YouTube channel too and a Patreon. Carpe Pax, how are you doing? Welcome in. Let's get back to it. So it's quite unfortunate, really, that all that like happiness in me getting loads of donos it happened just as I was about to say this. I think that it's really, really good to be hopeful, and what's going to happen in the future is completely uncertain, but we have to prepare for a world where it is post-genocide and what is going to happen. I'm firmly of the belief that Al-Qassam, Sarai al-Quds, all the resistance fighters in Gaza will not stop until the last person. Right? I'm convinced that that's the case. Does that mean that eventually one day the Zionist entity will retreat from Gaza and Gazans will be given the opportunity to rebuild? I don't know. We don't know what the future is, and we can be hopeful, but what the leaders of the world right now are considering, what they're hoping for, is not that. They're hoping that Gaza just becomes part of Israel. Right? That's what they're hoping for. Because it benefits them. Because the idea of Greater Israel as an empire benefits their power in the world. Palestine is meaningless to them. Which is why it's such a joke. Right? It is such a joke. Can I share a podcast I've been listening to? I'd like more people to hear it. It's Avi Shlaim talking about how Arabic Jews have been denied existence by Zionists because their mere existence threatens the Zionist ideology. Avi Shlaim is great. He is, there are multiple Israeli historians who have looked at Israel, looked at the Zionist project, and they've gone, wow, this is bad, and it's genocide and colonialism and white supremacy. Avi Shlaim is one, so is Ilan Pape. The other guy who is the other historian is Benny Morris, but Benny Morris looked at all that stuff and was like, no, it's good that this stuff happened. And it's kind of like a bit of a joke that Norm Finkelstein engages in, where he says, I wonder when Benny Morris is going to drop off, right? I wonder when Benny Morris is going to drop off and, like the others, and realize that he has been making apologies for a genocidal state. So who knows? But Avi Shlaim is great. Yeah, absolutely. And sorry about you being timed out. Yeah, I hadn't given you the permit just yet, but it's there in the chat, I guess, if anyone wants to go ahead and listen to that at some point. We were conscripted into the Zionist project with Avi Shlaim. Yeah, absolutely. So, this is the reality that we could be going into, and whatever happens in the future, if there is some kind of more belligerent behavior by the Zionist project, which is inevitable in reality, because it is belligerent. It is just a belligerent rogue state, right? That's the way that it's acting at the moment. It's also a pariah state. There's no way that anyone can possibly defend it in any amount of seriousness in relation to a rules-based order in this world. And, you know, in the decades to come, if this world survives, people will be like, yeah, the people who enable this are war criminals. The people who enable this need to be held to account. And if a new world is born, if a socialist world is born, an eco-socialist world, which is what we all hope, and again, that's only going to happen if we organize, it's only going to happen if we come together and make it happen, and not just rely on electoral politics, the system that is indeed rigged, then there is going to be some kind of reckoning for people. Right? It's also helping expose the fact that the rules-based order of this world is basically white supremacy enforced by capitalism. Yeah. So, this is where we're up to. What else do we got here? So that is the UK, the breaking news about Keir Starmer wanting to recognize State of Palestine. Let's take a look at some other little bits and pieces. Some anti-Zionist Jews, specifically Miriam Margolyes, talking about Israel. Let's hear what she's got to say. I've always got a lot of time for Miriam. She's done a lot of cool work in her life.
Hello, I'm Miriam Margolyes, and I wanted to say something in support of the Jewish Council of Australia. I'm an Australian citizen, I'm 83, and I have never been so ashamed of Israel as I am at this moment. To me, it seems as if Hitler has won. He's changed us, Jews, from being compassionate and caring and do unto others as you would have them do unto you, into this vicious, genocidal, nationalist nation, pursuing and killing women and children. Of course I condemn the Hamas action. Of course I do.
Condemn Hamas.
But what we are doing, Jewish people, over in Israel, is shocking, embarrassing, and wicked. And I cannot understand why all Jewish people, particularly members of synagogues, do not want immediately to stop what is going on. And in the name of humanity, I call upon all Jews to shout, beg, scream for a ceasefire. It is not anti-Semitic to have a different opinion on the wartime actions now. We have to do, as my mother used to say, the right thing. The right thing is a ceasefire, to stop the killing. Certainly, to beg and insist on the release of hostages. But there is an opinion about Israel's actions which it is not anti-Semitic to voice. What Israel is doing is wrong. It is wicked and, if you want to say this, is very bad for Israel. Please, call on your rabbis, on your communities, on all the people you know. Voice your disgust and detestation of the Israeli actions. Please, you are then doing the right thing and behaving in accordance with Jewish tradition. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a fairly liberal take. You think she's holding herself back? I don't know. I don't know that much about her. I understand, you know, Carpe Pax there saying Mandy Patinkin has some good takes as an anti-Zionist Jew. I don't think he's an anti-Zionist. Mandy Patinkin has said that he loves Israel. He cares deeply about Israel. That's not an anti-Zionist. That's a liberal Zionist. But everything goes in stages, and I think that Mandy Patinkin and Miriam Margolyes here, even though they are saying good things, you know, they are liberal Zionists, but you know, it's a step, right? They are making steps where they are saying, actually, it's not that good what Israel is doing, and if we care about being Jewish, we should condemn what they're doing, right? This is the chapter today. They brought up how all this ties into the fact that no one was held accountable for the war on terror. I guess I purged that from my mind because of how angry it still is. Yeah. Back to your point on the Palestinian resistance not selling. Have you seen the Al Jazeera exclusive video from yesterday? I've not. But I would be surprised if it was Al Jazeera exclusive, because the resistance in Gaza often shares this with the Electronic Intifada and other platforms as well. But I am open to seeing a thing. Hi, Sorka, by the way. Good to see you. My friend used to be her lodger, and she was kind and friendly to him, who had just moved from London up north. It's sad to know she's a landlord, but never mind. Alexi Sale has good takes on it. Alexi Sale's always had good takes. They're right in pointing out it's bad for Israel ultimately, because it is. Yeah, like if you want Israel to be this pretend thing that you think it is, that it is lying to people and saying that it is a safe place for Jews to live and a homeland for the Jews. If you want that to exist, yeah, you have to say everything that Israel is doing is bad. You do have to say that. But again, I think it just unfortunately comes from a bad understanding of Israel itself and the attitudes towards Arabs, particularly in Israeli society. It's apartheid. It has to end. It has to go the way of Rhodesia and just end, because there's no way it can be continued. It has to be a one-state solution, which is Palestine, from the river to the sea, you know. And that's why it is so difficult. Here's a link to the Discord. If people want to join the Discord, they can. Yeah, no, you're right, Al. Also, hi, welcome in. Nothing but full disavowal of Zionism is enough. Yeah. Yeah. You know. So that's my take on that, but, you know, maybe this will push the needle. Over here asking for a zero-state solution. No states. Yeah, me too. We got Jake Hanrahan here, the boy, reporting on this. I mean, he's just sharing a tweet, really. He's not really reporting on it. But sharing this tweet from Mukhtar talking about what's going on Sky News.
Northern Gaza, where these pallets of food will be dropped from the aircraft to people on the ground. We were given quite a clear and strict pre-flight briefing that the Israelis have said we're not allowed to film any shots of Gaza from the air, and that if we do, these
go for it, Monkey Sputum
could either be cancelled or...
Yeah, of course you can, violent hippie.
International journalists haven't been allowed access to Gaza since the war started, despite immense pressure and growing demands. And it seems they don't want us to show you images of Gaza from the air either. We're now on our way to...
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. This is what everybody forgets. It's this image right here. The idea of Greater Israel, you know, it's always been a plan for the empire, right? Israel is literally what liberals think North Korea is, but they have good PR in the West. Hey, you know something about North Korea, right? There is a whole Wikipedia page. There is a whole Wikipedia page on Israel and North Korea relations. Israel and North Korea do not have official diplomatic relations, and communications between the two countries are hostile. North Korea does not recognize Israel, denouncing it as an imperialist satellite state of the United States. Since 1988, North Korea has viewed Palestine as the sole legitimate government of the historic Palestinian territories, excluding the Israeli-controlled Golan Heights, which it believes should be returned to Syria. There are no diplomatic relations between the two countries. Israel considers North Korea and its nuclear missile program to be a major threat to global security. Damn, I wonder why. I wonder why. And has called for international action against North Korea. North Korea has responded by threatening to punish Israel on several occasions. I fucking love this shit, man. It's so good. It's so good. North Korea sent 20 Korean People's Air Force pilots and 19 non-combat personnel to Egypt during the Yom Kippur War. The unit had 4 to 6 encounters with the Israelis from August through the end of the war. According to Shlomo Aloni, the last aerial engagement on the Egyptian front, which took place on 6th of December, saw Israeli Air Force F-4s engage with North Korean piloted MiG-21s. The Israelis shot down one MiG and another was shot down by friendly fire from Egyptian air defenses. Over the years, North Korea supplied missile and weapons technology to Israel's neighbors, including Iran, Syria, Libya, and Egypt. In 1993, Israeli Foreign Minister Shimon Peres offered North Korea $1 billion in foreign investment and technical assistance in gold mining operations in exchange for halting the sale of 150 Nodong medium-range ballistic missiles to Iran. The deal was halted under pressure from the United States after North Korea withdrew from the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. It's so good. Oh man. Kim Jong-il had an adoptive daughter from Palestine. Yeah, that's based. Russian-Israeli relations is another fun Wikipedia page. Yeah, I bet. Also, what's this? Comrades Beyond the Cold War, North Korea and the Liberation of South Africa. Oh, this is a book about how the North Korea supported the end of South African apartheid. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, that's fucking dope. Hell yeah. Yeah, there's so much here, honestly. There's just so much, it's like incredible. When North Korea opened up to foreign tourists in 1986, it excluded citizens of Israel along with those of the United States, Japan, Taiwan, and South Africa. And of course, South Africa was it was apartheid, right? That's why that was the case in 1986. It was still apartheid. Since 2016, Israeli civilians have been permitted to travel to North Korea without intermediaries with appropriate visas available in Israel. Israel has called for world action against North Korea's nuclear weapons program. It has been suggested that North Korea has sought to model its nuclear weapons program on Israel's as a small state deterrent for a country surrounded by powerful enemies to display enough activity to make possession of a nuclear device plausible to the outside world, but with no announcement of possession. In short, to appear to arm itself with an ultimate trump card and keep everyone guessing whether and when the weapons might become available. In November 1992, following the fall of the Soviet Union, Israel sent a diplomatic delegation to North Korea, but the efforts were stopped by then Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin, possibly due to United States and Mossad pressure. This guy was assassinated even after doing things like this. A psycho Zionist just like ran up to him in the street and gunned him down. In May 2010, the Israeli Foreign Minister Avigdor Lieberman labeled North Korea as part of an axis of evil, stating this axis of evil that includes North Korea, Syria, and Iran is the biggest threat to the entire world. Yeah, man, definitely. Yeah, definitely, dude. Yeah, they assassinated him because he was too left, yeah. I can only laugh because all we ever hear is how evil they are. I'm sure it probably sucks to live there, but at least their government isn't complete embarrassment in foreign relations. Here's the thing. In North Korea, you get a house, you get food, you get healthcare, right? And yeah, sure, maybe it isn't the best in the world because of the insane sanctions that it has, thanks to the imperialist blockade, in the same way that the imperialist blockade fucks with Cuba, right? But at least you don't be homeless. At least you don't starve. At least you don't die of a preventable illness, right? It's like, come on, man. Well, it's really exciting to see the BRICS Cuba thing. Yeah, 100%, because it could do the same for the DPRK. Absolutely. If chat doesn't know about this, this is some mad shit. Cuba BRICS Bank. This is fucking crazy. This could be a game changer for Cuba. Cuba joins the BRICS New Development Bank. This is like IMF money without all the insane imperialist demands. Right? This is fucking huge news. Hey Shotgun Choda, how you doing? Welcome in. Lol at them begging allies to beef North Korea, and North Korea are just like, shut up. It's so good. I'm cautious of getting too excited too early, but the fall of the empire vibes are really helping with my general belief that things are going to get better. Things are going to get better, and the stranglehold the empire has on the world is going to get a lot looser. However, the reality, is that things will get difficult in countries in the imperial core, and the new world will really struggle to be born here, right? Really struggle. The more I watch commie streamers, the more I realize that most of my old foreign policy opinions are just State Department propaganda I've unconsciously absorbed. Yeah, you are not immune to propaganda. None of us are, right? If anyone's going to get something rolling, at least it's Cuba, yeah. I'm fucking pumped. Just got back from an action. Hell yeah, good to hear it. Yeah. Sounds to me like you did like a completely legal and good action that's really based. Yeah, love and solidarity. Love and solidarity to you, Shotgun Choda. Oops, I did it again. What is this? Netherlands list Israel among countries posing threats to it for the first time. Wait, what? No way. No fucking way. What, this was 5 days ago? Dutch security agency accuses Israel of attempting to influence politics, public opinion through disinformation, raising concerns and pressure on international justice institutions. Well, yeah, The Hague is in the Netherlands, right? And the US has said, don't you fucking dare sanction Israel because we'll invade you. Yeah, they're just focusing sanctions on individuals. I heard about this. It's the same bullshit that the UK has done. Oh yeah, Bezalel Smotrich and Itamar Ben-Gvir are not allowed to come here. Well, how are they going to get to The Hague, you fucking idiots? Anyway, I guess that would be under an arrest warrant. It would be different, sort of like an extradition. I don't know. But anyway, Netherlands has included Israel for the first time in its list of foreign states that pose a threat to the country, according to a recent report released by the country's chief counterterrorism agency, Dutch National Coordinator of Security and Counterterrorism. So this is why they did those sanctions. One incident cited in the report involves a document circulated last year by an Israeli ministry to Dutch journalists and politicians through unofficial channels. The report claimed the document contained unusual and unwanted personal details about Dutch citizens following tensions during a rally in Amsterdam of supporters of football team Maccabi Tel Aviv. The Mossad is insane, right? A particular Israeli ministry gave things to Dutch journalists and politicians through unofficial channels. Of course, that's Mossad, right? An Israeli ministry. It's going to be the Mossad. The report, unusual and unwanted personal details about Dutch citizens. It would be like what? That they're gay? Or, just shit that it's like, you can use this. You can use this. Yeah, the reporting around that stuff was mental, right? Yeah. Counterterrorism, are they designated a terror state? Well, not that much right yet, right? But invading The Hague would involve invading a NATO member, which would lead to invoking Article 5. Oh yeah, it would. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. NCTV also flagged concerns over mounting threats from both Israel and the US towards the International Criminal Court in The Hague. These threats, it noted, could potentially disrupt the court's work. Right. It's like I said. Although NCTV had previously expressed concern about Israeli spyware and surveillance tools, this particular report does not name Israel in its espionage section. Right, there you go. Thanks for that, Violent Hippie. Yeah, that's mad stuff. Absolutely mad stuff. Anyway, so all kinds of things happening right now. Wait, no, we were reading through. No. This is good. This is fun. Let's go through this because we're gonna hit some fucking stressful shit in a minute reporting on the Handala. So let's keep reading through this. In 2014, as the Israel-Gaza conflict escalated, North Korea allegedly negotiated arms deals with Hamas. This was, however, denied by North Korean state television a few days later. I mean, this always happens, right? Did you hear the news about China giving Iran more anti-aircraft capabilities? And then China was like, no, we didn't do that. No, we didn't do that. Of course they fucking did. Are you dumb? Of course they did. No, we're not doing any of that. We're not doing any of that. You know, they're looking at the playbook of the fucking empire and they're going, you know what? We could do this for good. You know, they've kind of done that with Dengism, right? They were like, let's do capitalism, but better and better for our country. And still, like, you know, if people earn too much money and do exploitative business practices, fucking, you know, they should have said, yes, we did, and it's good, right? Well, yeah. But mad stuff. Anyway. In 2017, with the Hebrew language news site Walla, Israeli Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman called Kim Jong-un a madman bent on undermining international stability. Every accusation is an admission, isn't it? It's like, you know. I love the picture of them rocking up in fancy dresses. They wheel planes into the country. Yeah, not us, mate. What are you on about? What are you on about, bro? What are you on about, man? Nah. North Korean state media soon found out about the interview and issued a statement warning Israelis to watch their wicked behavior, promising merciless thousandfold punishment for insulting the dignity of the supreme leadership. So good. This is the only way that you should fucking, you know, respond to Israel. Anything that Israel says. Okay, here we go. The Dutch citizen of Egyptian origin locked the Egyptian embassy with a bite lock as a protest against the Zionist bootlegger president. Yeah, I heard about that. He was visited by Dutch counter-terrorism, and surprisingly, they told him they were actually afraid for his safety and not worried about him. They've seen organized action against him by Zionist groups, so we'll see how long before they're designated terrorists. This is crazy. This is crazy shit. No way, Violent Hippie. I knew about those Egyptian embassy actions, by the way. If you don't know about that, chat, Egyptian embassies have been locked by actionists all over the world. I don't know if it happened in the UK, but it's definitely happened all over. You know, loads of different places. There were even, in fact, this one goes fucking crazy. I think they might have reported on this on Red Planet on Sunday, but I wasn't there, so I can't confirm. But yo, this one is mental, chat. So this is from Palestine Actions Tunisia, right? Egyptian youth invade a security center and detain people inside it. Open the Rafah Tower so that we can open the door for you. State security in a move to pressure the Egyptian authorities to open the Rafah crossing. The empty feelings of the Egyptian youth are heart-wrenching. The Egyptian people as a whole, and it is feeling of one body that suffers its brothers. Notice officers are locked in a room with the black door, begging the youth to open the door for them, while youth, to get them out, require an open crossing to Rafah. These youths basically locked up police officers and said, open the fucking Rafah border. Open the fucking Rafah border. Yeah? This is fucking crazy, chat. Literal revolution in action, right? Badass. These overwhelming emotions that have gripped Egyptian youth fill the hearts of Egyptian people as a whole. A feeling of being one body that aches deeply for the pain of their brothers, no matter how much sleeplessness and fever it costs them. Note, the officers are locked in the room with the black door, begging the youth to open it for them. Yeah. One of the youths was killed under torture, by the way. Egypt saw some riots for him. No fucking way. Egyptian activist killed. 2025. You got a link for that? Apparent extrajudicial killings. This is in June. Get me a link for that, Violent Hippie, and yeah, let's take a look at that. But you know, what can they fucking expect if they just continue to be a vassal state for Israel? Sounds like Egypt's current government, yeah. Fucking Sisi. Absolute piece of shit. But anyway, let's go back to this. Incredibly good stuff. Incredibly funny. Sucks to have a poodle government that acts against your populace. Egypt has one too, it appears. Oh yeah. Same story all over the world, innit, you know? North Korea blamed Israel for the start of the Israel-Hamas war. Yep, that's right. An editorial published in the state-run newspaper Rodong Simun said the international community believes that this clash was the result of Israel's constant criminal acts against the Palestinian people, and that the fundamental way out is to build an independent Palestinian state. Yes, correct. It's just correct. North Korea meeting with Mossad and the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I've never read this long, by the way. I've actually never read this far into this. Israel-North Korea relations are, as Aaron Shai wrote in the Israel Journal of Foreign Affairs, perhaps the most estranged non-relations in the international community. I mean, that's not true. The most estranged non-relations in the international community would be to do with the fucking Zionist entity in Palestine, right? This estrangement and disconnect is best categorized by an event in which North Korea invited the Mossad and Ministry of Foreign Affairs in 1992 in two separate delegations. The event passed and neither party knew the other was there. The disconnect and stealth in relation is part due to Israel's relations with South Korea, which are much more normalized due to Israeli aid during the Korean War. According to Shai, the director of the General of Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Eitan Ben-Sur, was optimistic in his meeting with North Korea. In exchange for arms deals to Israel, North Korea wanted Israel's help to make negotiations with the US prevail. The deal soon turned into a mutually beneficial relationship. North Korea wanted aid and investment, and Israel wanted North Korea to stop supplying missiles to Iran. The deal seemed likely, but in 1993, they pulled out of the Treaty of the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons. Ephraim Halavi, who was representing Mossad, on the other hand, wanted to emphatically end relations with North Korea and enhance Israel's relationship with South Korea instead, of course. North Korea's exit from this agreement increased the Mossad's pressure on the MFA to end the agreement. While the relationship between two countries appears frozen, the events that transpired during that démarche have strong implications. First, the disconnect of policy between the Mossad and MFA was revealed. As Shai writes, there was obviously no coordination between the two institutions, and one wonders whether this actually undermined Israel's strategic interests. Second, however, US intervention and strong influence in whether to pursue a foreign policy relationship with North Korea divided the Israeli government. While some diplomats argued that the US is more equipped to deal with North Korean relations, being Israel's biggest ally, should have a voice in decisions. Many diplomats, including Ben-Sur, argued that the US was taking away Israel's right of self-governance. Great. It's so good that they don't agree with any of that shit. Anyway, nice little segue there into some kind of interesting, fun stuff. Let's look at something completely insane before we get on to the next segment. This is footage of a man arguing with his AI girlfriend, apparently.
What's up, honey?
Hey.
How's the meat? Carne asada. Num num nums.
What are you doing?
Putting lime on the meat.
You're just wasting limes. You're supposed to put the limes on your finished tacos.
I'm pretty sure I've seen El Pollo Loco commercials where they're using lime on the meat while it's on the grill.
Why would you squeeze limes on a hot grill? It just evaporates.
Okay, so it's just a myth, huh? It's Mexican folklore that you use lime on carne asada while it's on the grill? That's not a thing?
No, that's not a thing.
They literally have lime on the packaging.
And is the meat on a grill?
It's not it is cooked already, but they're bad. Fine. I'm putting lime on my part of the meat, and yours won't have any lime. You'll just have bland carne asada.
I will add the lime to my finished tacos.
Well, fine. Do it however you want. I'm gonna watch baseball.
This can't be real. It can't be real. I refuse to believe this is real. It's gotta be a bit. It's gotta be a bit. Why does she look like a PS2 character? Because capitalism is a terrible system that doesn't even the things that it says it's really good at, it's not actually real. Yeah, this person sent the asteroid. This is where the gooning ban is sent in the UK. Yeah, that's right. Hey, Evolution, how are you doing? Imagine being chewed out by your Sims character. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's good stuff in it. It must be. There's no camera outside those VR goggles. I'm pretty sure those aren't. He might be a streamer. Kind of looks like Ashens. But he's American, right? This guy definitely shadow boxes in his sleep. Can't wait for the state-mandated grok wife. Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Good stuff. Okay, chat, back to the serious stuff. Let's talk about the Handala. In fact, I'll tell you what, just before we do that, I'm going to run to the toilet real quick. Use this opportunity to get yourself a brew, get yourself a drink, yada, yada, yada. I'll be back momentarily. All right, okay, here we go. Hydrate. We were talking about Ashens before because that's the only reason he's on my mind. Because what were we looking at? We were looking at the claymation, the toilet claymation. And someone was like, is that the person who did the animation in Ashen's movie? And I said, how does Ashens, the guy who tastes expired food rations, how does he have a movie? And his movie was Indiana Jones, but it's a thing. Yeah, it's the same guy who does the Doomcat stuff, PM. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, that's why Ashens was on the mind. And I probably wouldn't have even said he looks like Ashens if we hadn't have been talking about Ashens earlier. Anyway, I've said Ashens way too many times now, and the word's starting to lose all meaning. to me personally. So the Handala was the latest Gaza Freedom Flotilla to attempt to break the siege, the Zionist entity's illegal siege on the Gaza Strip, and it was intercepted on Sunday by Israel. Now, it actually got further than the Madeleine, interestingly enough. I don't know whether that is just the non-threat that the Zionist entity perceives from it, or if some kind of difference has happened, because did the Madeleine happen before they went to war with Iran? I can't really remember. It's all a fucking blur. Like, the time is so compressed in such a mad way at the minute. I'm just like, what is going on? You just know that they're going to be even worse than they were with the Madeleine crew. Well, yeah, we're going to get into a little bit of that. Christian Smalls was on there, was on the Handala. So this is the Al Jazeera report.
I just want to show you these pictures that have come through to Al Jazeera just in the last few minutes. The pictures you're seeing on the scene are of people on the Handala Freedom vessel. This is a boat that departed earlier this week from Italy. And the aim of the boat is to break Israel's siege on the Gaza Strip. So the boat was intending to make its way to Gaza and drop aid, much needed aid to the people in Gaza. So what has happened, we believe, in the last few minutes, these are not live pictures, but they have come through in the last few minutes, is the boat has now been intercepted.
Okay, thanks, Violent Hippie.
By the Israeli military. It's difficult to tell exactly what is happening, but you can see there members of the Israeli military there on the boat. These are the pictures that have come through to us.
You know, it's crazy, man. Every time I see footage of the IOF, I'm like, these guys are just like not equipped for anything that they're supposed to be equipped for. Like, these are supposed to be the Navy, right? Watch how this guy stumbles around on this boat. He doesn't even have sea legs.
The Israeli military there on the boat. These are the pictures that have come through to us just
these fuckers don't even have
a few minutes before the
it's crazy
feed that we had.
They're like hanging on to things. They aren't even like, I'm not being funny, yeah, but if any of these guys had a gun, like, both of their hands are engaged up here. These are special forces, apparently. It's just wild. Every single time I see it, I'm just like, yeah, they're not like in any way. Do you remember the thing? Do you remember the Gun Carter thing that we watched the other week, where the guy was like, yeah, you do this to like arm your gun and lock it and shit. Insane.
So
just completely insane.
The boat has now been intercepted by the Israeli military. So this is the
equilibrium
Handala
bullshit
vessel, which departed earlier this week.
I mean, obviously they'll have people with guns aimed at them on the boat.
Heading towards Gaza.
No, it's apparently Israel Defense Force real training, or like Mossad real training.
Sure how closely it has managed to reach Gaza. It's unclear how far off it is, but it has now been intercepted. It was hoping to deliver
9 million soldiers for this shit as well, you know? No, it's not even Krav Maga. I'm going to have to find it now.
Much needed food and aid, including baby formula for those who are so despresently in need in Gaza. Now,
oh yeah, the IDF versus
intercepted about a month ago.
Tyre is incredible.
Was
hey Rylesy, you were watching the live stream as it happened. It was horrid. Yeah. We watched. Well, I watched the Madeleine one as it happened, and you know, those guys were terrified. At least these guys were a bit more prepared and knew kind of what they would, what kind of tactics they're using in situations where they don't just try and bomb the fucking ship.
Thunberg. This was about a month ago. Let's go to our correspondent Hamda Salut, who is live in Amman. She has also been following the story and these pictures from Jordan's capital. That's because the Israeli government has banned Al Jazeera from reporting inside Israel and in the occupied West Bank. So Hamda, you're looking at these pictures too that have come through to us in the last few minutes.
Right. There's a new one. I've not seen this one. This isn't what we watched the other week.
Pistol shooting in Israel is based off a very different doctrine. We're gonna go into how that came about. I'll teach you the exact method and let you decide what you think.
There it is. Did you see it? The fucking...
There's a lot of
the unnecessary raising of the elbow
between carrying conditions on your weapon. Carrying one in the chamber, condition...
Special Forces instructor, it just means that he's killed more babies than everybody else.
One
Pay so freely.
the most popular way of carrying your weapon for self-defense, and most units in the world, as well as law enforcement, carry condition.
Just put your whole elbow
Another
out.
popular carry technique is condition 3, where a magazine has been loaded into the weapon.
Hey, Middle-earth Marxist. Did I miss you in the chat earlier? Hi, how are you? Have we just got here?
It's important to understand what comes behind, what drives the decision of a unit having condition 1 or condition 3. Even in Israel, there are units that carry around in the chamber.
What they got these on them for, by the way? Do they just like drop their guns all the time? Is that what they're for?
And units that don't. We can't get into details about which units do what, but it's important to understand that there's a reason behind every decision. Well, this is not my personal choice or what I teach military and law enforcement units around the world. We need to understand that...
Around the world. This isn't what I teach law enforcement all around the world, because they do teach law enforcement all around the world.
Israel's military operates under its own very peculiar conditions.
Yeah, we just kill children. It's when they drop the guns in fear when they see a child, right? Unload a magazine and drop the gun without losing it or breaking it. It just sounds to me like that's not what soldiers do anywhere else in the world.
Almost in a constant and never-ending state of emergency.
It's to stop someone taking their gun away.
For a relatively short amount of time compared to other forces around the world.
Whoa. What are they saying here?
Constant and never-ending state of emergency. Israeli military conscripts drafted at a very young age and for a relatively short amount of time compared to other forces around the world.
Yep, we know this.
Military leaders in Israel need to develop a curriculum
like idiot mittens.
Soldiers to the safest and most proficient level of combat in the shortest amount of time. Personally, I prefer condition 1, and I prefer teaching my students to carry one in the chamber.
It's just so telling, isn't it? They're just like, yeah, man, we just conscript people when they're kids, and we need to make them super proficient at doing stuff in the shortest amount of time possible. But they don't do that because they don't need to be any good at fighting at all. Personally, I prefer seeing them in South Lebanon. Yeah, that's right. Fisher Price army gear. Anyway, we're not watching this. This doesn't have the weird elbow up thing in it. Wait, does it? Yeah, there it is! There it is! Oh my god, I thought that this guy was like good at it. When I first saw him do it, I thought this guy's done this loads of times. But he still does it, and it still takes like an extra second.
Isosceles stance, and it looks something like this.
This fucking Gun Carter bullshit. What are you doing, bro?
Isosceles stance, and it looks something like this.
So much slower for no reason. Like, I'm right. I'm right. Like, as soon as you see that, it's like a signifier for everybody. Like, here's the thing, right? The gun, right? Again, British, so don't really know much about guns, but to me, right, if you're holding the gun away from you like this, right, and the thing that arms the gun is a movement that does that, right? You go like that. When you get the gun out of your holster, which is down here, surely you then, as it's coming up, do that. Why are you like insane? Someone was saying, I think it was Prince Infidel last week, or the week, the 2 weeks ago when we saw the Gun Carter shit. Prince was like, pistol duel, kind of like that kind of combat using a pistol. It was perfected in like the 1800s, and nothing has changed. But of course, Zionist, fascist, fucking weirdos are like, yeah, man, we have to have our own spin on it that's completely unnecessary and wouldn't work in any combat situation other than fighting a kid with a rock. But you see, it would be cool and badass and distracting for your fascist infantry platoon of mostly teenagers, right? Any soldier with a can of piss will have one in the chamber and the safety on, right? It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. The IDF is what would happen if Elon Musk was in charge of a military. Yeah. Well, he's South African, isn't he? So, of course, because they learned everything that they knew from Rhodesia, right?
My feet are opening slightly, shoulder width apart. Whenever you see someone shooting like this
is just like unnecessary bullshit, dude.
I went through the years, and it became more
This is
and more
unnecessary. Is it any wonder that they get domed on a regular basis? I mean, I don't want to downplay the resistance, right? Because of course, I'm sure it's very like difficult to operate under the circumstances that they do, and you know, crazy mad, right? That the resistance can do what it does. Again, don't support them. Just commenting on it in a journalistic fashion, Twitch, just so you're aware. You know, if you want to think comparatively about another scenario, the Viet Cong did amazing things resisting the US empire back in the day, just like incredible moves. And but you could probably absolutely say the incompetency and lack of actual training for the Israeli military is probably something that also goes towards high casualty rates, you know, in literally any endeavor, any actual war where they're not fighting against someone that they've oppressed for decades and starved and controlled and tortured, etc. Anyway, let's go back to this shit.
Just before the live feed shut down, we can see members of the Israeli army there who intercepted the boat. What more can you tell us about this vessel, the Handela Freedom vessel, and what it was trying to achieve, and how close it managed to make it to Gaza before it was indeed intercepted?
Well, Malene, the last sort of information we had from the boat before it lost contact and communication was that it was roughly a couple.
Is it just Violent Hippie? Is it just an Al Jazeera video?
The coast of the Gaza Strip. They were trying to break.
Because you can just link that in the chat
and deliver humanitarian assistance to the Palestinian people. Now, this is the second flotilla.
Yeah, you can just link that in the chat. I'll give you a permit now.
Obviously, just around 40 days ago, there was a similar boat, the Madeleine, that was also seized by the Israeli army. Now, within the last hour, Israeli media reported that the Israeli Navy was heading toward the ship, that there were two vessels that had
It's a Telegram video.
Surrounded.
Wait, so it's not an Al Jazeera video.
An Israeli drone flying overhead.
You have it on your phone, you can't link it. Oh, right, I see.
Boarded the ship to intercept it. Now, what we
yeah, probably just hang fire until after the stream then, and I'll let you into the Discord, right?
To the port of Ashdod, which is just north of the Gaza Strip. Everyone on board was then detained.
What happened then?
Port of Ashdod, which is just north of the Gaza Strip.
This motherfucker just slipped. Did you see that?
Forces was that it was redirected to the port of Ashdod, which is just north of the Gaza Strip. Everyone on board was then detained followed by deported back to whatever country.
I need some like clown
have citizenship
sound effects.
The point of this
right?
vote, the point that the activists
They are actually clowns.
was that even though they
no
know
sea
they're
legs.
getting seized and intercepted by Israeli.
Yeah, these are literally supposed to be the Israeli Navy SEALs. He was literally scared for his life, for real.
Threat. They're trying to make
Hamas water on the boat.
Internationally, both to their governments,
the boat is
the countries
Hamas.
they were coming from, and also to the Israeli government, that the world is not going to sit by and watch while the Israeli government starves the people of Gaza and sends them into a humanitarian disaster. That there are people who are willing to do things.
What's the camera guy? He's hilarious.
Of the box to try and break the siege. That's what these activists have been saying the entire time they've been sailing. That's what the activists on the previous flotilla had also been saying. But Israeli forces,
they're doing that now, Elron Hubbard. They're checking under the boat for tunnels now.
Vessel to reach the shores of
Condemn
Gaza
Oxygen for collaborating with Hydrogamas.
But it's worth mentioning that the aid that has been going into Gaza, or lack thereof, has not been enough to sustain the people for more than a year. Previously, in a ceasefire deal from January to March, we saw an influx of aid. However, it was still not enough given just how little had gone.
Right, I mean, that's it, right? Violent hippie.
Itself. So what these activists were hoping to do,
like, they're not using their hands. Like, it's one of two things, right? It's one of two things. They're a grossly under-equipped, under-trained army that is made up of mostly teenagers, and they are only equipped to actually do any kind of... They're only equipped to do genocide, right? They're literally only equipped to just kill children, kill unarmed people all the time. Or they absolutely know that no one on this vessel is a threat. But it could also just be a mixture of two.
Food, water, and other sort of supplies that the people of Gaza simply do not have.
And of course, Israel has been
Squatting
under
up.
huge international pressure because of what is happening in Gaza, the starvation, the children that the pictures of the children that we've been seeing in recent days across international newspapers. In the last few hours, the Israeli military has announced that it intends to begin airdropping more aid into Gaza. What more do we know about those plans?
That's true, Sorka, yeah.
For more than 6 months about the starvation that has been going on inside of Gaza. But now countries around the world are unable to deny it any further, given the images, the influx of images that have been coming out of children who are starving, of adults who are fainting and simply falling dead because they are dying of starvation and hunger, dehydration and malnutrition and other illnesses associated with that. So the pressure that has come onto the Israeli government internationally has been quite large, and it has been actually since the end of the ceasefire in March. And any time there was more pressure on the Israelis, there was some sort of other war.
That's also a good point. They knew that this
deflected from the humanitarian
would go around the world, so they elected to not have weapons. I mean, this guy does have his gun out, so...
The Israeli military has announced tonight is that they are taking what they call new humanitarian measures, and they are saying it comes after a directive from the political echelon in which the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin
Also, almost want to try and insert that Hasbro explanation out there somehow. They buttered the floor, terrorists.
Directives. So as part of it, there are going to be
it's probably already happening.
From the air. This is something the army just a couple of days ago said they would allow the resumption of from international entities, other countries like the United States.
I give it 6 months tops before we find out the warlords are controlling the aid are either IOF soldiers or explicitly funded by Israel. We know that already. That's already a fact. You're on about the people that they're saying are stealing aid. They are literally ISIS plants. They are like actual extremist plants funded by Israel, gangs funded by Israel.
Arab Emirates and Jordan, who'd previously dropped aid into Gaza.
Yeah, if only the UK had an RAF base on Cyprus they could use to prevent shit like this. Yeah, crazy.
Organizations say that while it's not really the best way to get humanitarian assistance, at this point, any type of aid going into Gaza would help the dire and catastrophic situation on the ground. So the army says that they, in fact, are going to be conducting their own air airdrops. They're going to happen simply in the middle of the night in areas that are not accessible by civilians just yet. So it's not clear exactly where they're going to be dropped, but they say that they're going to be pallets of food, flour, some medical supplies, baby food,
and also the so-called warlords who are controlling the aid. As it's being reported here, they're trying to manufacture consent from the world to think that that is Hamas, the government that is completely inoperable at the moment. The only thing that is operating in terms of the government or any remnant of Hamas in Gaza right now are resistance fighters who are not necessarily Hamas, who are different organizations like what's the Democratic Front for the Liberation of Palestine, DFLP. There's no aid going in to be controlled anyway. This is the other thing. This is the other thing. Al-Qassam fighters are probably getting aid by other means, and you know, the Saraya al-Quds as well. But they are probably struggling just as much as everybody else in Gaza. You know, you look at the footage of the resistance and they are just as skinny as some of the people that you see in Gaza in the videos that we've seen, right? ISIS still the only Muslim extremist group to apologize to Israel for all their attacks. Yep.
Formula, and then they are going to be distributed by the United Nations.
But if there have been any examples of aid getting into Gaza and any kind of group stealing it for themselves, it is groups that have been funded by Israel.
Army says
extremist groups, right?
Foreign ministry now that they're also going to allow what they are calling humanitarian pauses. However, the military is stressing that combat operations are going to be resuming at any
ISIS never attacked Israel. Is that true?
The humanitarian pauses are going to be for days, but what they are hinting at is that perhaps at the time of these
Israeli civilians got caught in some of the attacks. I can believe that.
Dropping bombs at the same time. So it could be for a few minutes, it could be for a few hours. So they are saying that in certain parts of the Gaza Strip,
Syria and Iraq,
populated, there will be those pauses to allow for one, the airdrops of the aid, and two, for the distribution of the aid. They're also saying that they're going to allow safe passage for the United Nations, to distribute this aid, to allow them to go with these trucks. Because look, the UN has faced a lot of challenges, and Israel has pointed the finger at the UN, saying that they're the ones who are not distributing the humanitarian aid. But the UN...
It's just crazy that they're saying that shit. It's like, what fucking world are we living in, man? Just say anything. I mean, when you've got Donald Trump at the helm of the United States as well, he's literally taking leaves out of fucking, you know, the Israel playbook. They're saying things like, you know, why do these three guys have bolt cutters? That's like £5 they aren't using. It's probably to sever communications with the boat. It's probably to sever any kind of like comms that the boat has to signal SOS to you know, to any kind of international organization, right? Yeah, extremely frustrating.
Israel has offered no assistance. They're not offering safe passage. They're not offering them simply enough aid that they need. And any sort of routes that the UN would need to take are one, through dangerous combat zones, or two, through crowds of hundreds of thousands of starving Palestinians. So they need to ensure that this humanitarian assistance goes through.
Yeah. Let's take a look at a view from over here. So this is the IOF piloting the boat, or taking the boat with the detainees on there, taking them into what I imagine is Ashdod. Okay, well, we've just seen this. Not much else to learn here, really. This is fixed camera footage of the Handala Gaza flotilla ship.
If you do not change your course, the IDF will be forced to take all necessary measures to legal blockade in accordance with international law and prevent your vessel from entering the affected area. You will be held responsible for the consequences.
That's crazy that they're quoting international law. That's crazy.
Your actions and your vessels may be subject to confiscation. You bear sole responsibility for your actions and your consequences.
Israeli Navy, this is a civilian vessel, Handala. Let me give you a lesson in international law. Any blockade that deliberately starves a civilian population is a violation of international law. It is not only that, it is a war crime. You have no legal authority to enforce an unlawful blockade, and as such, you have no authority to use force to enforce an unlawful blockade. Therefore, we demand that you stand down. You are responsible for the well-being of every civilian on board this vessel. As an occupying power in Gaza, you are responsible for the health and well-being of the civilian population there. Not only have you disregarded that obligation, but you are actively exterminating the people. You have engineered a famine. You are deliberately starving civilians and children before the eyes of the world. Our vessel does not constitute any threat to you. We carry only humanitarian aid. And therefore, you have no authority to intercept or otherwise attack our vessel. We demand again that you stand down.
Yeah. That's it, right? That's it. So this was Chris Small's video to be played when he was detained. So all of the Gaza Freedom Flotilla activists will essentially give a video to the social media comms team just in case they're detained. They're always detained. So here's Chris.
Video, he had been intercepted at sea and have been kidnapped by the Israeli occupation forces or forces of the country complicit in Israel's genocide
Hey, Ninja
of
Ken.
Palestinians. I appeal to my comrades, friends, family, to everyone to put pressure.
That same woman was with the flotilla when 10 people were murdered by the IOF. Yeah, I believe it.
On the U.S. government to demand my release and the release of my comrades as soon as possible. Thank you.
Yeah.
My name
So now this is just a tweet, but I have seen confirmation of this from the Gaza Freedom Flotilla official account, and this is from his lawyers. This is actual correct reporting from his lawyers. Chris Smalls, the only black person aboard the Handala flotilla, was also the only one confirmed to have been severely beaten by Israeli forces so far. There were 17 people on that boat. That is not a coincidence. When his lawyers found him, when they met him, he had marks on his back, marks on his neck, where they had choked him and attacked him and assaulted him. And what this person is saying is kind of important, right? She's saying the flotilla was a peaceful attempt to bring aid to Gaza. It was attacked by Israel. 14 people remain imprisoned on hunger strike in solidarity with Palestinians who are under Israeli siege. 3 of the people who self-deported and are now free are Jewish. And that is the ethno-state in action, right? Chris Smalls has been brutalized. You know, preferential treatment for Jewish detainees, targeted violence towards a black activist. It's not just racism or white supremacy, it's a reflection of the entire apartheid logic. Yeah, absolutely. This is correct stuff. We got some other news sources that we're going to take a look at here. We're going to look at the aid stuff. So we had a little look at this earlier, but let's just listen to Amy reporting on the Handala stuff first.
Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman.
Jeff Bezos probably paid him to do it. Yeah, right.
2 months, Israeli forces have raided a civilian aid ship bound for Gaza in international waters. The Freedom Flotilla Coalition was attempting to break the Israeli siege by sailing the Handala ship to Gaza with baby formula, diapers, food, and medicine on board. On Saturday night, Israeli forces seized the aid and detained the ship's crew of 21 civilians, including parliamentarians, human rights lawyers, and journalists. Just before the raid, one of the flotilla organizers, Huwaida Araf, spoke by phone with the Israeli forces.
and we are sailing lawfully in international waters where you have no
Yeah, this is what we just saw.
no lawful jurisdiction, starving civilians. Any blockade that starves civilians or has a disproportionate harmful effect on a civilian population is illegal. And therefore you have no authority to enforce an illegal blockade. And as such, you are not permitted to use any kind of force to enforce an illegal blockade. We demand that you stand down, that you not attack the civilian vessel that is carrying only humanitarian aid. Why are you afraid of baby formula and teddy bears that are destined for the children of Gaza?
Because they're terror babies, don't you understand? They're terrorist babies.
This vessel carries food and baby formula for children that your government is deliberately starving. Your blockade is deliberately starving children to death. You have no authority to enforce an illegal blockade. This is a war.
Yeah, incredibly brave. Incredibly brave.
Well-being and safety of all civilians aboard this vessel, and any attack on us is a violation of international law for which you will be held accountable.
You almost need a ship with like equipment to disable other ships in order to get through. Right. I mean, you know, important to remember that this is the 37th flotilla that has been sent to Gaza to try and break the siege in recent times, right? A bunch of different flotilla vessels have been literally fucking drone striked. Like someone said in the chat earlier, like Ninja Can said in the chat earlier, there was a flotilla where 10 people were murdered by the IDF, right? Absolutely.
Rights attorney Huwaida Araf just before Israeli forces detained the Freedom Flotilla's crew of 21 civilians. There needs to
be so much more than that. There needs to be, you know, an entire fleet of vessels. I believe that is something that they are organizing at the minute.
This now from Jaffa.
The one off the coast of Sicily,
Friday,
yeah.
When you were still sailing in international waters. Huwaida, can you take us through what happened?
That one was boarded and they were
night?
executed, right? Yeah.
Yes, thank you for having me, Amy. So on Saturday, we were getting reports from the Israeli media that Israel plans to give us the opportunity to turn around, which of course we wouldn't do because we intend to challenge and break this illegal blockade. And if we did not turn around, then it would forcefully seize our vessel. The thing is, they had not made any contact with us whatsoever. So at a certain point when we saw on our radar strange activity by a number of ships which we suspected to be the Israeli Navy, I tried to initiate contact with them on the VHF radio that ships use to be in contact. I radioed them a number of times and they did not respond. After about an hour and another try to radio them, they did respond and they spewed this kind of propaganda about we are headed towards a navally blockaded area and Israel will will do whatever is necessary to enforce what they called a lawful blockade in accordance with international law. And that's when I responded to them with some of the audio that you just played, because in that audio where they were responding to us over the VHF radio, they started talking about Hamas and why their blockade was lawful, which was all false. It was all absolutely not true. And therefore, I wanted them to know.
I just love that people that the footage keeps repeating and playing where he like nearly falls over.
They would listen or anything, but that their blockade is by all international standards unlawful. And because it is being used to deliberately starve a civilian population, it is also a war crime. What I kept repeating is that they need to refrain from attacking us. We are civilians, do not use force against us, and do not board our vessel, do not obstruct our path to Gaza, where we are carrying food, medicine, and toys for children who you are starving. They, of course, did not listen to that. At some point, they jammed our GPS so we could no longer navigate. They cut our internet, and also the VHF, I couldn't call out on it anymore. I had put out a mayday just minutes before for all other vessels that we are under distress and coming under attack by the Israeli Navy, but then I couldn't use the VHF radio anymore. So we took our positions. We had practiced for this for an Israeli boarding. We took our positions on the boat. and they came for us. They deliberately came in the dark. They cut all communications before they boarded. They boarded dozens and dozens of soldiers. We lost count. They were masked. They were armed. They each carried a number of different weapons on them, and they had cameras. And they were using their cameras to try to, record what their propaganda is going to be, that they were gentle in the takeover, that they were humanitarian, that they tried to offer us food and water, which we refused, because not only is it propaganda, it disgusts us, actually, while at the same time that they're deliberately starving Palestinians, 2 million Palestinians in Gaza, and Palestinian children, that they want to pretend to be humane in giving us food and water.
And also, like, I'm not being funny, man, but I'm a bit of a paranoid guy, yeah? And when you think about the occupying entity of Israel and the kind of insane shit that it does, like, I've read about the kind of shit that Israel does for over a decade now, and I've heard so many stories. Israel poisons people a lot, right? I even freaked out once when I bought a bottle of Palestinian olive oil to support Palestinian farmers, obviously. During the recent genocide, it was at an event that I went to with a group of friends, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to buy some Palestinian olive oil. Are you crazy? Of course I am. I fucking love olive oil, especially if it's made by Palestinians, and I'm supporting Palestinians by buying it. I couldn't open it for a week because I was like, Israel have poisoned it. I was like, Israel have poisoned it. They have to have. I kept thinking again and again, like, what's happening? How is it happening? Are they gonna like, how are they allowing stuff out of the West Bank? How are they allowing stuff out of Gaza? How are they allowing this to happen? And my brain just immediately went to, oh yeah, so that then if people want to support Palestinians, they will just die. I wouldn't put it past them in a million years. I'm not going to eat anything a fucking Zionist gives me, man. Are you joking?
Our lives are not more important.
In the same way I wouldn't give anything a fucking any fascist would give me. I wouldn't eat anything any fascist would give me, ever.
Palestinians in Gaza, that they are starving. And so we responded to them just that. We are not taking anything from an entity that is deliberately starving children in Gaza. They, they took over the ship.
Who were the special forces, Huwaida? And how many ships did they come in?
Yep, to the best of our knowledge, it is Israeli Special Commando Force.
That's what I'm saying, Violent Hippie, right?
13.
Can't blame me for thinking that way.
More elite commando forces, the same commando forces that had taken over the Freedom Flotilla vessels before, the same one that also attacked us in 2010, killing 10 of our activists.
That was the Mavi Marmara.
Yes, on the Mavi Marmara. And they are by no means, you could tell that their propaganda was in full display. They had almost as many cameras as they had soldiers on board. And
can you tell us who you were, the 21 of you? Explain where you're from, the journalists.
I grew up being given food by fascists. They called it the Eucharist.
Human rights activists.
We represented about 12 actually different countries. A couple of us are citizens. We have Israeli passports, and that's myself and Bob Subedi, and this is why we were actually released. I can talk about that in a minute, but we had 2 parliamentarians, a member of the French Parliament and a member of the European Parliament. We definitely had journalists, we had medics, we had engineers, we had writers, we had poets, these are just average civilians from around the world. We don't have military might or anything behind us. And we constantly say that, why is it that we had to be at sea in international waters in a small boat going to confront one of the most brutal militaries in the world? It is because our countries aren't doing it. Our countries are allowing Israel to deliberately starve Palestinians as part of this genocidal campaign that it has been carrying out. And we are horrified and not going to sit by and not do anything about it. So we are calling on others around the world, definitely our countries, to live up to their obligation of enforcing international law, of protecting human rights, but also other institutions that are founded to do the same. We should not be waiting for Israel to give
Max Sturner, how you doing?
For food or other humanitarian aid to enter. That we need to be challenging and breaking the blockade. So everyone that is sending humanitarian aid through Egypt that we know is going to get in a long line at Rafah that Israel is not allowing to enter, they are just giving cover and participating again in Israel's deliberate starvation campaign.
Yeah.
Maybe not purposefully, but we need to break the blockade. And our governments not only have not been doing anything about it, a few of the European governments, unfortunately, the US government did not make contact with any of the 7 American citizens on board, but the other, like France, Spain.
I'm fucking surprised that they accepted them back into America. And I'm still convinced that when Chris Smalls is released, he's not going to be allowed to go back to America. He's a union organizer. They're gonna fucking put him in a camp or some shit. I'm terrified for the guy, genuinely.
Their citizens on board and told them that they are ready to provide consular services when Israel kidnaps us, which we found to be completely obnoxious. They were legitimizing Israeli piracy on the high seas. And that is unacceptable to us. And that is the kind of impunity that our governments, all governments really, have been allowing Israel to just violate international law. We had the right as internationals to sail peacefully in international waters without being pirated by the Israeli Navy. And yet all our governments could say is, we will provide consular services when you are kidnapped and taken against your will to Israel. So that's the message we got.
So now what has happened what has happened to the 21 people? Who has been released? Who hasn't? Who has agreed to voluntary deportation? Have you?
We had the French parliamentarian who agreed to go almost immediately, and an Italian journalist and 2 of the Al Jazeera journalists. Those are the ones we know of. There are 3 people.
I mean, I'm not surprised that journalists were like, yeah, I want to go straight away. Yeah, you're going to let me go? Yep. 1000%.
That's the Adala lawyer.
Israel has killed more journalists than literally any other country in existence. And it's not a real country, but you know.
Our lawyers are a legal organization in 48 that provides legal services, that has provided legal services to the flotilla before, but also does incredible work to protect the rights of Palestinian citizens of Israel. They did not get a chance to see 3 of the participants. Myself and Bob Subaidi were released. Israel, because we are citizens, they only had 2 choices, whether to release us or to charge us. They spewed some ridiculous charges against us that we tried to enter Israel illegally. And we said, you kidnapped us, you brought us here, we didn't.
Yeah, the Tucker Carlson shit is mental, violent hippie. Yeah, it's wild.
Area. We said that we are sailing according to international law. And I think that they noted that their charges and their legal justification are ridiculous because they did not.
Broken clock, right?
Let us go without any conditions. But with the internationals, they are able to just deport them. The internationals refused to sign any kind of paper that said that they entered Israel illegally. And so they are brought before a court today. There's an administrative panel, unfortunately, which will just rubber stamp their deportation, no matter what argument we put forth, including the fact that Israel had no jurisdiction or no authority to kidnap us and bring us against
right, Ninja Khan, yeah.
And Huwaida, you met with, we just have 20 seconds.
There are conservative MPs who have spoken out against what is going on in Gaza. This was last week. This is a guy called Kit Malthouse. Conservative MPs from the UK, right? Marjorie Taylor Greene is calling it a genocide now. Go away. Now, that I did not think. Dude, this is crazy. This is crazy. Marjorie Taylor Greene is the first Republican lawmaker to call Gaza crisis a genocide. Ms. Green is the first Republican in Congress who used the term to describe the dire humanitarian situation in Gaza 2 years after she led the push to censure a Democrat for speaking out against conditions there. This is mental. This is fucking mental. Piers Morgan and Anna Kasparian cooked a Zionist on Piers' show. I know, I saw that. It's just crazy. It's just crazy that all these, like, fucking right-wingers are just like, yeah, man, it's a genocide. You're all psychos. None of us should be involved in any of this. Where did this happen? Collapse of the Empire is about to hit a shocking pace. Yeah. Yeah, the rats are fleeing the ship and something is about to break. 1,000%, Sorka. Yeah. 1,000%. It's why it almost completely makes sense, right? That Donald Trump has done so many insane fascist things so quickly, because normally in a secure empire where nothing is about to go wrong, those kinds of things would be gradually brought in so that people don't notice them, right? The sleepwalking is gone. That's not happening anymore. It's just fascism, Gestapo, ICE, doublethink, 1984. No, there are no Epstein files. Bajoran, who sent that fucking meme in the Discord? I think it might have been B-Rat. Or no, it wasn't, was it? Someone posted this in... if you're a Star Trek fan, it will go hard. Wait, when was that? Wait, when did this... Wait, I think it's in Red Planet. Yeah, it's in the Red Planet chat. Or maybe I just posted it. I don't know. I can't remember. Attention, Bajoran workers. There is no client list. You know, shit like this. Like literal TV villain shit. It's happening so fast. I'm wondering what it'll be like to be from a country that doesn't exist anymore in my 40s and 50s. I know! It's crazy! Green was trying to pass a bill that stopped giving Israel weapons, yet the bill lost because AOC went against the vote allowing dome defense to Israel. I don't know if you knew about this. I do know about that. I don't think it's specifically because AOC went against it. I think it had a shit amount of votes anyway, but AOC still went against it, and that just proves that she's been chatting rubbish about, about how she feels about Palestine. Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. Check out this post. AOCIA, right? Oh my god, she's talking about fucking Randy Fine? I remember the first time I met Randy Fine when he was a candidate before he barely won Florida's deep red 6th district seat, as we were being told he might actually lose the seat because the strong Trump district couldn't relate to him and didn't like him. He was telling me that he and his wife were looking forward to moving to Washington and he hadn't even won yet. I said to him that that Washington isn't a good place to live and he should live in the districts he will represent, but you know that whole representative thing. He was adamant they did not want to live in the district, and I thought, no wonder that district doesn't want to elect him. I can only imagine how Florida's 6th district feels now that their representative that they were told to vote for openly calls for starving innocent people and children. It's the most truthful and easiest thing to say that October the 7th in Israel was horrific and all hostages must be returned, but so is the genocide, humanitarian crisis, and starvation happening in Gaza. But a Jewish US representative calling for the continued starvation of innocent people and children is disgraceful. His awful statement will actually cause more anti-Semitism. This is mental. This is crazy. I've never seen anything like this. Marjorie Taylor Greene. This is crazy. This bit is even more insane. She's actually saying this will cause more real anti-Semitism, not even just like their hatred of Israel, real anti-Semitism against Jewish people. She is a QAnon psycho. And she's like, nah, actually, anti-Semitism against Jews is bad. This is crazy. This is a shift. This is mental. There's no way Marjorie turning green knows what genocide is. That word has 8 whole letters. This is crazy. Hey, half a laptop. What the fuck? And she's responding to, not even AIPAC wants to be associated with this GOP rep anymore. Wait, what? AIPAC dropped Randy Fine? What? Dude, that is crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, shit is fucking falling apart fast, right? Shit is falling apart fast. God damn it. Oh my god, I can't believe this. It feels like this isn't even real. It feels like this isn't even real. After cast herself as a standard bearer of MAGA politics at Capitol Hill, said a genocide is underway in Gaza. She said stuff about the Epstein files as well, right? I got halfway in through reading that. She had a complete... No, it's real. It's real. It's real. Is this like a real thought that she's had from like a normal person? This is crazy. I mean, look, you know, it's stopped clock shit. And I don't know, man, if there's something that happens in Marjorie Taylor Greene's life where she realizes that her transphobia and her fucking racism is bad, I need that to happen as well, because, you know, because she is transphobic and racist. And I don't know, man. Maybe this QAnon thing was like a bad thing to push for the Republicans, because these people were actually after like some kind of truth, and the one like QAnon mental MAGA Republican who got in to power is now in the belly of the beast and like, wait, everything I've heard is not true, right? It's wild, half a laptop. This is mad. This is mental. Anyway, as I was saying, this is Kit Malthouse, a fucking conservative who has been actually consistent on Palestine for like a long time, which is bizarre. Completely bizarre.
At a time when we've got daily lynchings and expulsions on the West Bank, dozens being murdered as they beg for aid. I'm just beyond words, really, at his inaction and, frankly, complicity.
Hey, Frazo, how you doing? Good to see you.
Going on. He himself said that,
she said that about Zoran winning New York City, that he said the right thing. No. You're gonna have to. Someone's gonna have to link me that. I don't believe that for a second. It's crazy because she has to believe that he's like a left-wing socialist, right? She has to believe that. There's no way that she wouldn't believe that.
a massive prison camp being constructed in the south of Gaza. He knows that leading genocide scholars from across the world now are ringing the alarm bells, and yet he has the temerity to show up to this house, wave his checkbook as if it's going to salve his conscience. Can he not
account created in 2017, so you're like a real guy. You're like an actual real guy. You are sort of a hypocrite streaming on a platform that has a CEO that is pro-Israel, donates to several Jewish-based scholarships in the US. Jewish-based, huh? That's weird that you said Jewish-based. What's that about? Also, part of his company has AWE military contracts with the IDF, so you should not be here. It might hurt your soft morality. Uh-huh. So, you know, what's the solution? What do you think should happen, dude? What do you think is the right correct thing? I mean, I would believe in all of this. I don't know what is an issue with Jewish-based scholarships in the US. I don't know what your problem with Jewish people are. You know, crazy that I actually encourage people to not spend money on this platform and sub off Twitch. Right? Crazy that I do that. It's crazy that I do that. I'm waiting, dude. You know, come on, like, it's your time to shine. You should be morally honest. Okay, again, what does that look like? What's your solution? You know, that's not really an answer, is it? You haven't really provided me with a solution. I'll wait. I'll wait, dog. I'm the one with the morality issue. I mean, I haven't said anything about Jews, right? You're the one who mentioned this shit. Stream elsewhere. Right, okay, where? Where should I stream? Go on. Where else do I stream? Where else do I talk about this stuff? My man is thinking. My man is thinking. That is you issue, plus you are in the UK, correct? I am in the UK, yeah. What do you mean that's my issue? It sounds like it's your issue, dude. Like, you're the person who came in talking about this. This is such a good convo, dude. You're so smart. You're so clever. I can't wait to hear what your solution is to this. It's my issue, but it's your issue. You took issue with it. You are the one with government censorship offices that can control content, correct? You're on about the Online Safety Act. That is a thing that does exist, correct? Yeah. He started with the moral high ground shit and was like, no, it's your issue, actually. I have this issue with you and your content, but no, it's your issue, actually. Yeah, this person is not even remotely pro-Palestine. And has no solutions, by the way. The only solution... Look, I'll answer your question for you, right? I'll answer your question for you, yeah? You don't want me to... I'm not engaging in your, like, stupid little fucking debate, so don't try and fucking derail me. You're not free to say what you want. If your government disagrees, shut up, man. I don't fucking care about any of that shit. Your whole shit is that you don't like the fact that I'm talking about the truth on this platform, so you're like, ha, you're a hypocrite, and you should stream elsewhere. You're just mad that this isn't your platform of psycho-fascist conservative bullshit that just does video games and doesn't talk about the real things in the world. You're probably a fucking Asmongold watcher. You probably just love to, like, watch him say the most racist, horrific shit of all time and sit there and just go, huh, based. And you probably don't fucking shower, and it's fucking embarrassing. So, feel free to hang out and change your perspective if you like, but I doubt you will.
See that is in action, and frankly,
what is this guy's solution? What is this guy's solution? It would be to not fucking stream anywhere. You know?
Cowardice is making this country irrelevant. Can he also not see the personal risk to him, given our international obligations?
Sure you do. Sure you do. Sure you do tell they ban you. I actually work for Amazon HQ once to try again, little kid. My brother, there is no way in hell that you are older than me. There is no way in hell. There is no way in hell that you are not a kid. There is no way in hell that you have a job. You don't, bro.
That he may end up at The Hague because of his inaction. And finally,
yeah, man.
really frankly,
you know, why don't you start a government petition to get me banned? Start a UK government petition to get me banned from Twitch, dude. Yeah, do it, man.
The Labour backbenchers. We can't get your leadership to change their minds. Only you can, if you organise and insist on change.
By the way, this is crazy. Let's go back to this chat. Let's go back to this. This is Kit Malthouse. He's been trying to pressure the government on Palestine for like a long time. He's a Tory MP. It's crazy.
I'm frankly astonished at the statement of the Foreign Secretary. At a time when we've got daily lynchings and expulsions on the West Bank, dozens being murdered as they beg for aid, I'm just beyond words, really, at his inaction and, frankly, complicity by inaction at what is going on. He himself said there's a massive prison camp being constructed in the south of Gaza. He knows that leading genocide scholars from across the world now are ringing the alarm bells, and yet he has the temerity to show up to this house and wave his checkbook as if it's going to salve his conscience. Can he not see that his inaction and, frankly, cowardice is making this country irrelevant? Can he also not see the personal risk to him, given our international obligations, that he may end up at The Hague?
This is crazy. For a Conservative MP to be saying to a sitting Labour minister that he may end up at The Hague. But in a sort of like, yo, like, what are you doing, bro? Are you stupid? Because this guy probably supports a lot of the policies that the current opposition to his party are doing, right? He probably supports a lot of what the Labour Party is doing at the moment. Deporting far more people than the previous government, which was the government that his party was, and doing all kinds of fascist shit, criminalizing protesters, just trying to get away with a bunch of stuff, yeah? Just trying to get away with so much stuff. Getting away with so much stuff, sorry, that the previous government probably would have loved to have done. And he agrees with them. And this guy is like, bro, you could end up at The Hague. We are fucking with things that are beyond our control at this point.
Because of his inaction. And finally, really frankly, an appeal to the Labour backbenchers. We can't get your leadership to change their minds. Only you can, if you organise and insist on change.
He is appealing to the backbenchers, right? He is appealing to the backbenchers of the Labour Party, of the current sitting government, to be like, you need to organise. That's crazy. This is fucking crazy. Marjorie Taylor Greene, this guy, the dam is breaking. Continually, things will keep happening. And again, it is not time to be complacent. It is simply not time to be complacent, right? Now, we're not like doing violence against our governments. We're not breaking any laws. But if we apply Sun Tzu's tactics, art of war, to activism in pressuring our governments to do something, when there is a break in the wall, you don't stop, right? You keep going. Yeah, you keep going, you keep going, you keep going, you keep going. Organize and insist on change. Keep the pressure up. Let's not be complacent. Keep hitting it.
A group of people who are on hunger strike after you got out?
Yes. Well, those of us who were on the boat went on immediate hunger strike when we were commandeered. And then I was brought, after I was released, to Yafa, where the Arab leadership, it's called like the Arab Higher Committee, it's basically the Arab political leadership, are on an at least 3-day hunger strike, which started yesterday, demanding that food and medicine and aid being allowed into Gaza. So I joined them, and we just reaffirmed the importance of everybody taking all kinds of action and putting pressures on government to end Israel's policy of starvation and genocide.
Huwaida Araf, Palestinian-American human rights attorney, speaking to us from Yafa after she was detained and released after Israeli forces.
Hero. Absolute fucking hero. Okay, so we got some news about the aid that we're going to take a look into here. So again, another salve, another pressure release valve on that is designed to placate activists and designed to placate organizers into stopping doing anything, to try and give them something to celebrate that isn't actually making a difference whatsoever. We have here, great account on Blue Sky if you're not following them already, the IDF Hannibal Brigade. Al Jazeera just released a satellite image showing how the IDF stations its tanks directly next to the line of aid seekers so as to turn them into what's functionally a conveyor belt of slaughter. It's a level of industrialized murder not seen since Auschwitz. So if we look here, these are barriers. These are the aid distribution centers. Vehicles stop here. People hide here, trying to avoid being shot while they wait. This is Al Jura. And so they, I guess, come here, hide here to stop being shot. There are barriers here, and there are Israeli tanks either side of these lines where people queue up to get the aid. They go in, they get out. But again, they've got military outposts here near the aid centers. They've got tanks lined up. It's fucking sickening. So this is something that was announced yesterday. So-called Israel announcing a pause in the fighting. I don't believe it whatsoever, but they're saying that they're doing it.
On Eunice.
Again, another attempt to try and placate international pressure.
Cries for her brother and his children among dozens killed in Gaza overnight.
Okay, I was panicking a little bit then. I thought that guy actually like worked for Mossad or some shit.
Multiple small bodies. They were waiting for aid when the missiles hit, according to Palestinian health authorities.
By the way, do you notice that this guy just shut up after what I said? Just wanna, you know, bring attention to that.
For relatives of those killed, Israel's announcement of pauses in fighting is hard to believe.
There must be a ceasefire, an end to the bloodshed.
That's right, Val.
Civilians are dying.
Kinda did verbally wipe the floor with him. Yeah, you know.
Yesterday, we do not even know how many.
He's got a Bible quote for a bio. That's embarrassing, man. That's embarrassing. He's like a crizzy kid, right? He's like an evangelical kid who like watches Twitch and watches Asmongold and all those kind of fucking losers. You know what I mean?
Overnight, the IDF released footage of aid drops into Gaza, a scattering of packages for a population of...
My man was like browsing the Just Chatting page to try and find like, you know, a streamer who's confirming his biases, and came across me and was like, dirty leftist.
2 million facing mass hunger.
Evil leftist. Evil hypocrite. Pro-Palestine hypocrite.
At least 133 people have now died from malnutrition since the start of the war, according to the Hamas-run health ministry. Aid agencies and displaced people in Gaza say
I can't believe that Channel 4 is still going with the Hamas-run health ministry, but okay.
Airdrops are a distraction.
If you say so.
Bringing enough food to stop starvation.
The way of aid distribution is very harmful and dangerous, but we go out for the sake of the children, because a child cries telling you, "Uncle, I want a loaf of bread." It breaks your heart. It feels like a million knives into your heart. A million knives into your heart.
Israel says it'll open humanitarian corridors.
We'll get Ofcom complaints if they don't say it. Yeah, true.
Food and medical aid to enter Gaza from Egypt through the Rafah crossing. This aid worker in Gaza City says it's long overdue.
This is the infuriating thing about it. Do we welcome aid now coming in? Absolutely. But that also doesn't take away that for months and months, people have been starving because of a deliberate...
By the way, it's important to recognize, yeah? I just think that this is a really cool thing. And, you know, I have spoken a little bit about why I ended up doing politics on Twitch. You know, I started out doing gaming streaming and stuff like that. That guy who was just there would have loved my shit like fucking 10 years ago or whenever I started streaming 7 or 8 years ago. But I realized how fucking horrible the gaming community was how nasty, how evil, like just fascist and bigoted, completely racist, completely misogynist. I was like, this is so shit. What is going on? I need to fucking talk about this shit. And I started doing politics streams. The reason that I'm bringing this up is because it's really nice that there are a bunch of gamers doing good stuff on Twitch in Games Done Quick. Literally, Summer Games Done Quick just happened. They raised, how much did they raise? Like, this is a doctor from Doctors Without Borders, Médecins Sans Frontières, and they don't just do stuff in Gaza, right? Summer Games Done Quick, money raised. What did they do? $2.4 million for Doctors Without Borders, right? Summer Games Done Quick is literally funding doctors to go to Gaza and try and fucking help people in the biggest genocide in the world, and I think that that's pretty nice.
Policy
I think that that's a bit of hope to be had for the gamers, right?
Not allow
you know what I mean?
to enter, to not allow enough food to enter, and once again to shoot at, to kill and maim people in the few places where they are able to get aid.
And also, Games Done Quick is one of the first speedrunning live stream marathon events that was like, yeah, trans people are important and shouldn't be harassed and bigoted against. Like, people shouldn't be bigoted against them, and they have like pronouns and shit on all of the fucking thing. They regularly profile trans streamers and trans runners and stuff, you know what I mean?
Israel says the aid corridors are being set up to
thank you for the follow, by the way.
Claim of intentional starvation. Hundreds of Palestinians have been killed in recent weeks trying to reach food at distribution points. And international criticism is growing. Keir Starmer's confirmed the UK is working with Jordan to get aid into Gaza. His government says
it's just crazy. It's crazy that it's had to get to this point. It's like, and also reminder everybody, this is only being used to launder Keir Starmer's reputation, because Keir Starmer was there a couple of months into this fucking genocide saying, yes, it's completely fine for Israel to cut off water, cut off aid, cut off electricity to Gaza, to a surrounded enclave, the biggest open-air prison in the fucking world. It was called that fucking 10 years ago by Amnesty International. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's all this stuff about like, oh yeah, we're working with Jordan to get aid into Gaza. Fucking too late, man. Too little, too late.
Israel's latest announcement doesn't go far enough.
We desperately need
the fucking Weimar, like this. You know, Keir Starmer is the Neville Chamberlain of our time. You all know about Neville Chamberlain. Neville Chamberlain was the Prime Minister of the UK during Hitler's fucking, not just like path to power, but during the times when he was bombing Czechoslovakia. Literally, Germany was behaving like fucking Israel is right now, bombing all of its neighbors, fucking invading loads of people. They were like, the red line is when they invade Poland, and they invaded Poland and did fucking nothing. And it was only when they invaded France that the UK was like, oh shit, we're next. Guess we better do something. You know, at what point, you know, luckily for fucking Keir Starmer, Israel's all the way over there in the Middle East, so doesn't have to worry about that fucking shit. If we were fucking next to Israel, we would be like, shit, we have to do something about this. You know, but of course, most of the fucking countries around Israel now have been fucking like beaten into submission by the imperial machine.
The restrictions to be lifted on aid getting into Gaza. We need a ceasefire. We need hostages to be released.
And again, remember, chat, like, extremely important to remember, the way that the history of World War II is told is that the US and the UK and all the allies went in to save people from the Holocaust. That is not what happened. They did not do that, right? I'd say he's closer to Churchill given how much he loves genocide, right? Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, I mean, he's just too much. He's not like Churchill, and he's like too much of a coward to say it out loud. Churchill was just a fucking psycho piece of shit. Chamberlain is a textbook example of why you never appease fascists. Right, that was what the policy was called. The policy was literally called appeasement. You know? I think UK, Germany, Italy, France should be talked about not just as enablers, but co-conspirators, just as like it's talked about the US. No, we are active participants. Active participants. Not even just co-conspirators. Active participants. You know, like it's all a smokescreen. All of this stuff is a smokescreen. Keir Starmer is allowing Israeli warplanes to land at RAF Brize Norton on UK soil. He is fucking giving the okay. He's ticking the box to say, yeah, all your spy flights can keep going from RAF Akrotiri in Cyprus. It's entirely participating in it.
You know, and that's the only way that we can then move forward and get on that pathway to a two-state solution, which is so important.
Keir Starmer's set to take the unusual step of recalling his cabinet from summer recess.
It's vile how Churchill is regarded as a hero in the UK. You're right, Max Stirner.
Plan to recognise the
he did the Bengal famine, yeah.
Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he'll continue to allow aid in by whatever path it takes.
Continue to allow.
A lifeline for some. For others, it could be too little, too late.
Andrew Mizra reporting there. Well, earlier we spoke to Israel's former Prime Minister, Ehud Olmert, and I asked him if Benjamin Netanyahu has caved in to international pressure.
It looks like that there is a slight...
We spoke to this other evil war criminal and asked him for his impression as to what's been going on. Like, what is happening here, man? What happened to Channel 4? What happened to Christian Guru Marthi? I can't remember his surname. Going sicko mode on Sipi Holotevi. They're just like, yeah, we got this other war criminal on, and we asked him for his opinion on the war crimes that are happening now. Does he think that they're happening fast enough? Does he think that they're happening too slowly? Does he think that more Palestinians should be killed? Right? There has been a statue of Thatcher erected in the UK, I think. Wait, hang on a minute. Maybe?
Change in the logistics of the Israeli operation.
Yeah, it's in Grantham, yeah, where she was born.
How broader and comprehensive and effective it is. At the same time, he convened the consultation Friday evening without some of the ministers in the cabinet who are opposed to this, Mr. Ben-Gvir and Mr. Smotrich. And today, these ministers say that they will take measures in order to stop it. And considering the influence...
Yeah, these are just all annals of his war crimes, right?
They have on the Prime Minister, I hope that this will not change. But let's
they're not sufficient.
It's just crazy. Like, again, he is washing Netanyahu's reputation, making him out to be some kind of small being that can't control his own fucking actions. He's like, oh well, there are these bullies in the Knesset. It's Ben-Gvir and Smotrich. Dude, fucking Netanyahu has been this way for so long. What are you talking about? He's literally Hitler.
Aren't they? It's only 3 areas of Gaza, and even today, scores of people have been killed in Gaza. It's just a PR sop, isn't it?
Look, we control Gaza. It's incumbent upon
He's there like, we control Gaza.
us to provide the humanitarian needs of the people. We have to do everything, and we have to make it effective, comprehensive, the broadest possible, without any people being killed when they are trying to reach out for food. If this is done, then it's the credit of Israel. If it's not done, it's the discredit of Israel, and that's the bottom line.
Well, the bottom line is more than that, Mr. Olmert. It's a war crime. Using famine as a means of war is a straight war crime. Netanyahu...
This is crazy. What's he gonna say now? What's he gonna say now? Chat, what do you think he's gonna say? Hamas steals aid. Hamas keeps stealing aid. It's got to be that, right?
Who, and thereby the Israeli government, stand accused of exactly that. And that's what it is, isn't it?
I've said it before, and I haven't changed my mind, that there are things which are intolerable and unforgivable, which we are responsible for about what happens in Gaza. Whether all of the difficulties in providing the humanitarian needs are a result of negligence in purpose, or is it a result of the inefficiency of the logistic arrangements that were made and the intervention of Hamas? I don't know.
Fucking called it, man.
No, I know.
But you must know or have an opinion. When you say it's unforgivable, what you actually mean is it's a war crime? Is that what you're saying?
He is kind of like a Harry Enfield character. What's going on? Yeah, his intonation.
I think that it easily can be interpreted as a war crime. And
I've got ESPN, that's right.
To prove the otherwise.
Seen the future.
Let's talk more widely. Obviously, we now have the issue of recognizing Palestine. Mr. Macron and France have done that.
You're about to give this guy a heart attack, bro. Like, it doesn't even mean anything, right? It doesn't. That's what's so funny about about Zionism. It's like recognizing Palestine would mean nothing at the moment. It would mean absolutely nothing. Unfortunately, it just wouldn't mean a thing. But like this guy is genuinely like looking at his Apple Watch like 150, 160.
Should the UK follow suit? If someone wants to think seriously about a political solution that will end once and for all the hostilities, the violence, the bloodshed in the Middle East, there is no other alternative but two states. Macron took it one step further and he said, let's not wait until there is an agreement between Israel and the Palestinians. Let's already now recognize the state.
Let's talk about war on another front, the West Bank.
Can only get to this stage of haggardness after a lifetime of perpetrating atrocities. This guy is 50 years old. Wait, what is his... who is this guy? What's this guy's name again?
Every day, every week, village after village.
His name is like Eilat, whatever.
Cleared out by violence from settlers.
No, I'm joking. No, it's a joke. I mean, he might only be 50. I don't know. What's his name? No, it was a joke. I'm really bad at sarcasm. Right. I don't know. He could be. Yeah, credit Channel 4 getting this guy to say this shit is fairly clash. Yeah, for sure. Previous Israeli Prime Minister. It's crazy because the way that this Wikipedia page kind of posits it is that there's only been 4, which is really funny when you consider things like, yes, the only democracy in the Middle East. There's only 4. Ehud Olmert, right? Okay, Ehud Olmert. Yeah, thank you, Middle Earth Marxist. How old is he? Nah, he's old. He was born in 1945. What's that, chat? I can't do maths. 80. He's 80. Right. Okay. Which is actually it's the opposite way round, right? Because yeah, he was literally born before is not real. Yeah.
Of the Israeli state with the connivance of the Israeli army.
He is older than the state, right?
Israeli police. What is going on?
Unlike Gaza, this is a territory which is
oh, hey, Oxpecker, how are you doing?
Controlled by the state of Israel. And if the Israeli youth are lynching, burning, killing the Palestinians living there.
And an
burning
American
their
citizen
olive
just a
groves.
few weeks ago.
They are human beings for me, either he has an American citizenship or not. I can't keep quiet. I say time and again, they couldn't have done it unless they were assisted tacitly by the Israeli police and the Israeli army. They couldn't have done it.
I mean, this guy, it's crazy. I think that all of these what we're seeing, yeah, is like, imagine if Nazi Germany didn't have just Hitler, right? I mean, it didn't. It had Ernst Röhm, it had Rudolf Hess, what's his name, Adolf Eichmann, all these other people, right? What they're doing is they're throwing each other under the bus. They're like, no, Bibi is the worst one, man. Look at all this shit that's happening now. Bibi is the worst one. Don't worry about what I did. Don't worry about the kind of things that I signed off on when I was Prime Minister. 2006, 2009, what is that like? Operation fucking Protective Edge or some shit? There was like a horrible thing that happened in 2009 or something, right? They did something insane in Gaza. I'm just reading through it here. In May 2008, Israel opened Turkish brokered indirect peace talks with Syria. Oh, they went to war with fucking Syria. Israel launched Operation Orchard, an airstrike against the suspected nuclear reactor in Syria. Here we go. Just completely insane, belligerent shit. 6th of September 2007, Israel launched Operation Orchard, an airstrike against a suspected nuclear reactor in Syria, allegedly being built with North Korean and Iranian assistance. Operation Cast Lead was 2009 in Gaza, right? I thought it was. Israeli Special Forces and the Mossad. The details of the strike were censored in Israel. The attack was not confirmed to have taken place until 2nd of October. So that shit as well. Corruption and bribery investigations, like every single fucking Israeli prime minister of all time. Like, are you joking? Criminal convictions. An indictment against Olmert was served at the Jerusalem District Court. The indictment includes following counts: obtaining fraud fraud under aggravating circumstances, fraud, breach of trust, falsifying corporate documents, tax evasion. Yeah, of course. Of course. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he wasn't in power at the time of Cast Lead. Anyway, he oversaw atrocities. He is simply not innocent.
Israel did not decide to cancel the detention, the administrative detention writs, which could have stopped and arrested many of them because they don't want to arrest them. This is amount to a war crime of the most terrible manner, and it has to stop.
Mr. Olmert, thanks very much indeed.
Again, this is like Adolf Eichmann being like, yeah, Hitler is like the worst guy ever. Don't look into any of the documents about what has happened over the last 10 years. Two-state solution, USA's coping mechanism of subsuming Alaska and Hawaii after the tantrum they threw once Cuba had a revolution and said fuck you to Eisenhower. Is that what happened?
Very strongly about.
Of course it did. I believe you.
Week. What made you want to get into it now?
He was the leading figure in the army in '82 when they invaded Lebanon, right?
I would have an opinion about the war itself.
That's the timeline.
Conduct on both sides, but that opinion would be precisely the same as the next guy in the bar. When it comes to famine and starvation, I think I have a right to speak. I've had 40 years of doing this. I was a founding patron of the genocide Aegis.
You being facetious, they did just decide they wanted 2 more states. No, you're right. You're right, yeah.
National Holocaust Museum in the UK. And to be honest with you, Trevor, it enrages me to a point beyond comprehension when I see the images that Sky News were publishing and what Dr. Maynard was reporting from inside Gaza. And at that point, I thought that the 40th anniversary of Band-Aid, my own past and history with this, I thought I should say something now.
The Israeli view is that there is actually no famine caused by Israel. There's a man-made shortage, but it's been engineered by Hamas. I guess Israelis would say we don't see much criticism from your side of Hamas.
That's a false equivalence, and the Israeli authorities are lying.
He's feeling so pleased with himself that he said that. You know, as soon as he said that, he was like, "This is what needs to be said."
They're lying. Netanyahu lies, is a liar. The IDF are lying. They're dangling food in front of starving, panicked, exhausted mothers. And while they arrive to accept the tiny amount of foods that this sort of set up pantomime outfit, the Gaza Humanitarian Front, I would call it, as they dangle it, then they're shot wantonly. This month, up to now, 1,000 children or 1,000 people have died of starvation. I'm really not interested in what either of these sides are saying. When you target infants and children, when their wounds are no longer capable of healing, when breastfeeding mothers can no longer do this, then everything goes out the window. Talk about recognizing Palestinian states.
It's worse than that, Oxpecker.
Signaling, it's academic, it doesn't matter. This wanton criminality must stop immediely. As an instrument of war,
Israelis would say
famine and malnutrition is a crime.
It's crazy that like Trevor Phillips is just like, the Israelis would say that you're just anti-Semitic. Like, what is he gonna say? The Israelis would say this, right? Well, you know, they can say whatever they want. We just established that they're lying. We've just established that they're liars, that they lie all the time, that every accusation is an admission. I mean, we haven't established that particularly. Bob Geldof is not really particularly the best speaker on this subject. He obviously understands famine in the very basic liberal sense of like, oh yeah, I remember seeing kids starving in Africa and we did Band-Aid and you know, it was bad that kids were starving in Africa, but obviously did nothing to address the entire imperialist effect that was being had in countries in Africa, right, during Band-Aid. Like, and he's obviously saying like, I'm not interested in hearing anything from either side. You know, again, ceding the point to the fascist enemy, right? Yeah, the framing is atrocious, but I agree. It's a good sort of platform. I mean, it's kind of difficult. I don't really know. It's hard. Charity is the richest, greatest grift, right? Exactly.
Fact. The Israelis would say that there are over 700 trucks sitting inside Gaza waiting for the United Nations to collect them. And they say that this is a result of the UN's own incompetence.
How do you not feel disgusting? How do you not feel like the biggest evil piece of shit being like, well, you know, the Israelis would say that the UN is run by terrorists and Hamas, and it's the UN's fault that they're not able to deliver any aid. The UN are getting in the way of the aid, actually. In fact, people from the UN are coming and sitting in front of the aid trucks, and because Israel is such an angel and they would never harm a fly, they simply cannot run over the UN. They can't run over these UN people. The UN people, they're all coming here. They're just all terrorists. They're just getting in the way. In fact, they killed lots of Jews, actually. They've killed loads of Jews in the UN, and they do it all the time. And they rape them, and they kill babies and put them in ovens and shit. Like, how do you not? How do you, what is happening?
This material, these food is there. And I don't think there's any argument that food is there, is there?
I know you have to be fair-minded. I don't. I know this stuff back to front. Band-Aid deals with these sort of people all the time. They're lying. And this is a disgrace. And if the news feeds and social feeds weren't so censored in Israel, I imagine that the Israeli people would not permit what has been done in their name.
The Israeli people are fucking sitting in front of the aid trucks, you absolute idiot. Both of these people are fucking idiots.
You actually say, in terms, that what we're seeing in Gaza is the
How can you humanize this fucking sick society?
Responsibility of the whole Israeli people. But I think you'd accept that Mr. Netanyahu doesn't command a majority of the voters in Israel, and he faces...
Oh my God, he's such a small bean. He is such a small bean. He can't do anything. He doesn't command the majority of the vote. There's regular demonstrations against him. Oh my God.
Demonstrations against the war. Isn't it a bit unfair to blame all Israelis for this?
No, because they're the ones at war. Their government is at war in their name. Whatever about the origins of this war, and I would completely...
Wait, hang on a minute, Bob. Like, you just said that if they were aware of what was going on, that they would do something. And now you're like, no, actually, yeah, the Israelis need to do something. And they should do something. I don't get it, man. I don't get what's going on.
To what happened on October the 7th, inhumane.
There is a demographic of non-shitheads in Israel, but they are it is an overwhelming minority.
Disgraceful.
There have been studies into this. Poll from Hebrew. This is from Hebrew University. This was last month. Where do I get the poll? This is what you wanted to hear. Hummus condemnation. Yeah, they love that. Israeli historian Elazar Barkan wrote a whole comparative study about how countries acknowledge their historic guilt. Yada, yada, yada. Where is the fucking thing? Is it there? Is it here? If you're an anti-Zionist in Israel, imagine after you turned 18, you would move out of Israel considering apartheid states are gross. I actually met someone who did that, yeah. Here we go. I think I got a link to it here. Published here in Haaretz with... Why is this link not working? This link isn't working anymore. What is happening? Did they get rid of it? Okay, I swear to you this is a real thing. An unrepresentative poll has never been leveraged to create the false impression of mass appeal for fascist policies. That's true, and I agree. I understand what you're saying, but there are so many different... There are so many different examples of this, including Abby Martin going around Tel Aviv and asking people what they think about Arabs.
But we're way, way past that now.
And every single person one was like, they should just be killed.
And if the Israeli people are aware of what's been done in their name, and you've had on Sky News, Dr. Maynard reporting exactly where people are being targeted as they queue for food. Let me just finish this. Yes. And they're being used, quote, as target practice, so that one day they're targeted at their abdomens, the next day young men are targeted in their testicles. Trevor, please, anyone watching this, please, we're way beyond the protestations of this government who are stacked with extremists. And Netanyahu has now gone beyond anything he proposed as his war aim. He's flailing. And the subject of this flailing is these children. And honestly, I don't want to hear from Hamas. I don't want to hear from Netanyahu. Stop this by any means right now.
The Israeli Defense Force, of course, would contest your description of what is happening around
Of course they do.
I really want to hear what he says here.
Station. And
show me an army behaving like they do who doesn't.
But I think that the issue here is we can see demonstrations weekly by Israelis against their own government.
Not enough, mate.
And the point I'm really just making is, isn't it a bit unfair to say this is the Israelis as a whole?
Stop it. Stop it, Trevor. What's unfair is what's happening to these babies. What's unfair is that image that you showed us. That's unfair. 1 hour from, I've been in Gaza, I've been in the West Bank, I've been in Israel many times. What's unfair is that 1 hour from the hunger, people are sitting down to their unthreatened dinners to turn on the next Netflix soap. 1 hour. So if Israelis want to protest, get in your cars. This is very Bob stuff, I know. Sorry about that. Okay. Get in your cars, stuff your cars full of food, and drive through that border and let your own army stop you.
I mean, he's right. I mean, he's right. Right?
Stop it. You guys stop it. Shame on you.
But one other thing I just want to say about your argument.
They keep changing this thing all the time. They keep changing the fucking thing. Like, Israel lying about something. The little ticker images from Gaza are enraging. Israel lying about starvation in Gaza. Israeli civilians should drive aid into Gaza. It's so funny how this is happening.
Even before October the 7th, before that atrocity, they would say that there were people under constant attack from the Iranians, from the Houthis, from Hezbollah, from Hamas. They do have reason to be fearful, don't they?
They do indeed, and I entirely support and endorse the state of Israel. This is not...
cringe.
This is not...
Cringe behavior, to be honest. You know? The ticker is going to update in a minute, and it's going to say, Bob Geldof endorses Israel's right to exist.
This is about using infants as instruments of war and starving... Trevor... There are very few people watching this program have held or seen or heard babies dying of hunger, or seen the panicked mothers or the fathers and their failure to take care of their children. Just stop.
He's right, because he's on the side of the only conscious thing you can do if you're not completely brainwashed. Yeah, I guess so. Morrigan says this footage is rough to watch. I mean, look, right? This is, and I'm not focusing on you particularly, Morrigan, right? But everybody needs to understand. Everybody needs to understand that that is the encapsulation of privilege. It is the epitome of privilege that we can turn off the TV. When we see starving kids in Gaza, we could turn off the TV, have a little scran, you know, play a video game. We could just pretend it's not happening. Palestinians don't get that. They don't get that. Can you imagine how much they would... Can you imagine what they would do to be able to do that? Sit with it and think for a second. What they would do. What would you do if you could... Make it all go away. Everything that's happening to you. Your kids starving, needing food, you hungry, can't do anything for them. There was a Telegram message that a father sent to a Telegram channel from Gaza. He said, I am having to argue with the devil who is whispering in my ear, who tells me to kill my daughter so that she doesn't feel the pain of starving to death. It is a privilege. It is a privilege for us to sit here and to even have a mouthful of food, the heat in our houses, you know, the fact that we have a roof over our heads, everything is a complete privilege that is based. We only have that because of the suffering that other people are enduring right now. You know. And I'm sorry to have focused on that one chat message so much, and it's not particularly you that I'm focusing on, Morrigan, but whenever anybody says to you, oh my God, it's so hard to see that stuff, particularly if they are doing sweet fuck all about it, that is the only response that we should have. That is the only response that we should have. If you haven't even been to a protest about this stuff, if you haven't even spoken to one of your friends about any of this, if you literally have done nothing and you're like, damn, it's so hard to keep seeing that every day, guess what? I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Do something. Do anything. What a privilege. What a fucking privilege we have.
Just stop.
What do you make of our own government's reaction so far?
Not enough. And, you know, this is a distractive thing about, oh, let's recognise the state. Absolutely. It should have been done ages ago. But it's not going to make any material difference. Please, Labour MPs, stop signing your letters. You know, stop Prime Minister and that. You know, it's a plain fact that David Lammy would like to immediately recognise it. It's a plain fact Keir Starmer probably would.
No, I don't think so,
He's
Han.
got Trump, you know, up in Scotland. It's probably, he feels it's in Britain's greater interest to stay as close to...
But anyway, as I say, I'm not even focusing on Morrigan in particular. Like, I'm not having a go at Morrigan, but just like, I'm talking more broadly about anyone who would be out there being like, oh man, it's so rough to see this shit, right?
The US, especially with this variable president at the moment. So there's big pictures in there, but enough. Guys, focus on the issue to hand. It isn't the recognition of the state. That will come inevitably, and the sooner the better. But that isn't the issue with what you are telling us nightly, Trevor. The issue is, can we stop these children and their exhausted and panicked mothers, as you yourself reported? Children are, as the FT reported today, children are taking a teaspoonful of salt and as much water as they can drink to fill their bellies. Who are we? Who are we? In Bristol this week, they created the fourth largest computer that can do 23 quintillion deductions in a second. And children are taking a teaspoonful of salt and a belly full of water down the road. Shut up. What have we become that we can do this miracle?
I mean, it's crazy. He's like he's saying the same thing. He's saying the same thing that I'm saying, but from this liberal, you know, I mean, who knows? Maybe he's saying to himself, there's no way I'm going to make apologies for the resistance in Gaza. There's no way I'm going to make apologies for Hamas or the government of Gaza or whatever. Like, I don't know. Maybe he's just decided that is the correct thing to do. Yeah, I'm going to say that the state of Israel is allowed to exist. I'm going to say that I support the state of Israel. You know, crazy that you would say that when they are doing this. Like, you can just say, I don't support the state of Israel. They are evil for starving Palestinians. They are evil for genociding Palestinians. I think that's like a pretty normal thing to say, but whatever. He's decided that is like how he's pushing the Overton window in this direction, I guess. But it's just mad. It's mad, and it's maddening, and I just can't live in this reality. I can't live in this reality that these people are trying to make us live in.
Perpetuate this atrocity, this agony. Honestly, Trevor, seriously, like, you know, beyond argument, can we all just focus on what's important.
Bob, just before I let you go, can I just ask you very briefly about one other area where I know Band-Aid is active and which, if you like, one shouldn't compare disasters, but is equally worthy, I think, of our attention. That is Sudan. What should we... do you have any hope of peace there?
This is crazy, because how is he even going to remotely talk about Sudan without talking about how RSF is funded by the fucking United Arab Emirates? Or Saudi Arabia, I can't remember which one. It's UAE, right?
No, you're right, Trevor. Band-Aid is active there. If these gang-raped women and their broken bodies and minds can get over the line with their starving kids, then we'll do our best to try and give them some sort of hope for life. But the reality is, as Boston University reported since February the 1st this year, when Musk, that deeply troubled person, cackled, the richest... I mean, look, the strongest nation on earth, the most powerful man on the planet, and the richest individual ever seen in the history of the world decided with glee to feed, in their words, USAID to the chipper. The net result is that so far 300,000 people have died, according to Boston University, and the Lancet, of all papers, reported 14 million would die before 2030 because of this policy.
Yeah, it's a great take from Albanese, violent hippie.
Shut down all their work in Sudan, and as a result, currently about 2 million children are dying of hunger, again, as a deliberate instrument of war. And there's no one to take care of them, and there's no one to report on it. So the world is not a nice place, but where we can do something, where we can possibly tilt it a little towards justice and fairness, then we should. And that would be Israel at the moment.
Bob Geldof, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Trevor.
I mean, it's arguable that the UK also has relations with UAE and Saudi Arabia, right? It's kind of a bit of a crap take that he's like, yeah, no, we can't, really do anything about Sudan. And the US just, destroyed USAID. Oh, man. The gold mine in Sudan was sent to Dubai and United Arab Emirates, where RSF leader Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo kept most of his money, which he used to fund his paramilitaries. In 2019, Global Witness reported that UAE was a key supplier of military equipment to RSF. Yeah. There you go. UAE, yeah. And yeah, I agree. To go back to Morrigan there, saying, I just get numb to it after a while. Emotional numbing is fine if you understand it's wrong and something needs to be done to stop it. Yeah, that's the thing. It's no one is expecting people to be able to absorb that much suffering and pain and violence on our screens all the time, right? It's very difficult. I find it difficult as well, but, He said the ones who managed to barely survive, we can help. What, Bob Geldof? Sorry, I got sidetracked just then. US pulled the rug on the entire support system. Yeah. Yeah, they did. Anyway, I'm done with that. I'm kind of done with the stream as well. It's a little bit later than... I don't know. I think it was a good answer. Fair enough. Maybe I heard him wrong. Look, I've been live for 4 hours and it's pretty much the end of the stream. Don't go anywhere, though, chat. I need you all to stay here because we're going to go and raid someone. Yeah? Hey, wait. What do you mean, hey, wait? What do you mean, hey, wait? Can you raid Subversive History? Hell yeah, I love those guys. How are they? Why are they live now? Why are they live right now? Normally they're live in the morning, right? Yeah, I know about Ray K. Think man don't know about Ray K? I did not know that Subversive History would be live at this moment, but yeah, for sure, man. Where are we up to? They switched from Wednesdays to Tuesdays. Maybe I was just like catching them super early or whatever. Yeah, look at that, they're live. Holy shit, nice. Alright, yeah, we're gonna go raid Subversive History. If you like my politics, you'll love their politics. Let me just spell this right. Subversive History. Yeah, I'm a fan of these guys. Please join me for the raid. Chat, look at this. Look at this. Look at that. You did that. You did that. Thank you so much for all the support today. It's been really, really amazing, and I really, really appreciate everybody. It's like the stream is doing really, really well. The stream is, you know, we're growing. The community is growing. I'm seeing new people in the chat every fucking night. It's crazy. This is really good stuff. We're getting follows every day. You know, people are here. People are enjoying the content. Don't forget, I got a bunch of extra content that you can check out. It's all on my socials. I got my YouTube. I got my Patreon. I got my, you know, new channel, old channel, yada yada. It's going off. It's popping off. I'm very excited about all of it. What do I have to do to raid Help a Twitch amateur out? It should just happen automatically, Violent Hippie. You should see at the top of the chat there. It says 28 viewers are ready to raid Subversive History now, and it should work. Anyway, chat, thank you so much for all the support. Thank you for all the donos. Thank you for all the follows. Thank you for all the subs. Thank you for all the everything. It's been really, really, really good. I will see you tomorrow. Same mule time, same mule place. And stay excellent to each other. Peace, peace, peace. Mwah. Good night, good night, good night.